It's 79 degrees in Green Bay, Wisconsin. No other venue like it. Lambeau Field in Green Bay. And tonight, Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers will host Jay Cutler and his Chicago Bears on NBC's Sunday Night Football. Al Michaels with Chris Collinsworth and Andrea Kramer. Welcome to Green Bay. This is the final game on the first Sunday of the regular season, 2009. Of course, the season began with a scintillating overtime win by Pittsburgh against Tennessee on Thursday night. And tonight, Jay Cutler comes to town. Chicago is just ecstatic. If you're a Bears fan, what a day that was when all of a sudden you heard about the fact that the Bears had traded for a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. Chicago has had 23 starting quarterbacks, including Cutler tonight, since Jim McMahon left after the 1988 season. Chicago last year 9-7. Green Bay was 6-10, but there's a tremendous amount of optimism in this city. Despite that record, they lost 7 games by 4 or fewer points. Brought in Dom Capers to run the defense. They'll run the 3-4. And Chris, you know that I don't know what you make of preseason. They had a great preseason, but what's your takeaway with the Green Bay Packers? A team a lot of folks think can get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, everybody's talking about what Aaron Rodgers and this offense has done so far during the course of the preseason. Let's face it, they've been nearly perfect so far. But I am really excited about what I've seen on the defensive side of the ball. Dom Capers coming in here, bringing up Pittsburgh kind of style of defense. They're bringing a lot of pressure. They're creating turnovers. And if they're going to get to the Super Bowl, it will be from the defensive side.
A lot of pressure on Jay Cutler. If Jay Cutler could have made out the schedule, he would have made his Bears debut in Soldier Field against the Detroit Lions. Instead, he goes to Lambeau Field to make his debut. This is baptism by fire tonight.
Yeah, it really is. And talking with him last night, didn't you get a sense that it was finally starting to dawn on him, all the pressure that's on him? He really doesn't want to let anybody down. He knows he's the franchise in Chicago. He knows the expectations are so high. People think he can do anything. Well, if he can do anything, he can beat the Green Bay Packers out here tonight.
We'll know a lot more in 3 hours. What a way to open up our Sunday night schedule. These two teams have been meeting since 1921. Cutler and the Bears, Rodgers and the Packers. For a decade now, he's been the face of the Chicago Bear defense, but he's had neck and back issues over the past couple of years. Now he appears to be completely healthy as we begin the 2009 season. He's Brian Urlacher, and he's down on the field with Andrea Kramer. Andrea.
Thanks a lot, Al. Well, the Bears have always been about defense, but finally you have a Pro Bowl quarterback, Brian Urlacher. What impact has Jay Cutler had, not just for the offense, but for your defense as well?
Hopefully it keeps us off the field a lot more. You know, we've been on the field a lot the last couple of years. He's going to help us run the ball, throwing the ball, all that good stuff, and gives us a chance to rest a little bit.
Lovie Smith now calling the plays on defense, plus you added defensive line coach Rod Marinelli to help jumpstart the pass rush. What differences do these changes make?
We're just back to our fundamentals. You know, we got Babbage back as a linebacker coach too. We're back to our fundamentals, playing fast and downhill, which is what we are.
The 177th regular season meeting between these two teams. Look at the atmosphere here tonight.
I know, it's awesome.
What's it like to play here?
It's great playing here. It's fun. You know, we both got high expectations this year, so whoever wins this game will be top of the division.
All right, Brian, thanks a lot. We appreciate it. And Al, Urlacher gets more help tonight. Cornerback Charles Tillman, who missed the entire preseason after July back surgery, returns. Lovie Smith told me they will rotate 3 corners since they don't want Tillman to have to play an entire game right away.
That's particularly good news for the Bears, Andrea, in as much as it's a very potent passing attack for Mike McCarthy's Green Bay Packers, 4th year here. Lovie Smith in his 6th season now at the helm of the Bears, and when he got the job before the 2004 season, one of the first things he said in the introductory press conference, I'm here to beat Green Bay. And he's done it 7 times in 10 meetings over the 5 years. And there it is, 177 regular season meetings going back to 1921, plus 1 postseason encounter in the 40s. The Bears 98-6. Everybody standing at Lambeau Field on a beautiful night. Robbie Gould to kick off for Chicago. Green Bay won the toss and elected to receive. And Jordy Nelson will run the kickback. Normally it would be Will Blackman, but he is hurt. Nelson's 2nd-year wide receiver out of Kansas State. And from Green Bay, we are off and running. Nelson at the 3-yard line. Straight up the middle. breaks the tackle to the 27. Gold will chase him down, and Gold will force him to step out of bounds along the sideline. So a great run back to start things for Nelson. It will be a 46-yard return as we take a look at the Green Bay offense.
Aaron Rodgers, California.
Ryan Grant, University of Notre Dame.
John Kuhn, Shippensburg.
Greg Jennings, Kalamazoo Central High School.
Donald Driver, Alcorn State.
Donald Lee, Mississippi State.
Chad Clifton, Tennessee.
Darren College, Boise State.
Jason Spitz, Louisville.
Josh Sutton, UCF.
Alan Barber, Missouri Southern.
3 new starters along the offensive line. From the 49, Rodgers completes his first pass of the season to Ryan Grant out of the backfield. He gets it to the 45-yard line of Chicago. Rodgers last year, despite the team going 6-10, a lot of bad luck and a lot of injuries, his passer rating was 93.8, which is good enough to get you to a Pro Bowl most years.
And boy, has this team been hot in the preseason. 13 possessions on offense, the first-string offense, and 9 touchdowns.
On a 3-back set here, and Grant can't get out of the backfield. That's Brian Urlacher through the middle who makes the tackle.
Well, right away you see Brian Urlacher, who they think is finally healthy after all the years and all the back and neck injuries that Andrew was talking about. This guy now has just been revitalized this season. He was there in the offseason workout programs. He feels like he's stronger than he's been, and they're excited about what he's going to do.
They go 4 wide on 3rd and 5. Rodgers out of the shotgun. 4-man rush. Rodgers gets it away quickly, right on the money to Greg Jennings for a first down. Jennings and Driver each over 1,000 receiving yards in 08.
Well, you see already that the Chicago Bears are going to try and get to Aaron Rodgers with just 4-man rush. Now that is awfully dangerous with the way that these guys have been throwing the football around. They would greatly prefer. They think their pass rush is going to be much better than what it was a season ago. There it was not.
Little toss. Grant over the right side. Gets taken down by Roach. And let's take a look at the Chicago D.
Adewale Ogunleye, Indiana.
Tommy Harris, the University of Oklahoma.
Anthony Adams, Penn State.
Alex Brown, University of Florida.
Pisa Tino Isamoa, Hawaii.
Brian Urlacher, University of New Mexico.
Lance Briggs, Desert Swarm, Arizona.
Charles Tillman, the University of Louisiana.
Al Afalava, Oregon State Beavers.
Kevin Payne, Louisiana Monroe.
Nate Vasher, Texas.
Afalava, big surprise, 6th-round draft choice, rookie out of Oregon State. And again, it is Ryan Grant who gets bottled up. Tino Isamoa, who started, is now on the bench, so they're working on the former St. Louis Ram who was there when Lovey was an assistant coach under Mike Martz, and that's why you had Nick Roach already coming into the game. So hurt early on is the outside linebacker, the new addition, Tino Isamoa.
Well, that facial expression didn't look so good, did it? He looked like he was in some pain.
3rd and 8. Rushing 4. Rodgers slips outside the pocket, then the pass is dropped. That's Deshaun Wynn, who is their 3rd down back. They have only 2 running backs tonight, Grant and Wynn, and then a couple of fullbacks as well in Kuhn and Hall. But Brandon Jackson, who would be the backup to Grant, is hurt.
Oh, and give the Bears some credit there after the long kickoff return to set up this drive. They were able to get one of the hottest offenses, at least during the preseason, off the field with just a long field goal attempt.
49-yard attempt from Mason Crosby. And Crosby's kick is no good. Drew it wide to the left. And so Mike McCarthy showing some early consternation. Chicago has the ball. Grab your bag, it's on. By Chevy, Buick, GMC, and Cadillac. May the best car win. By Sprint, the official wireless service sponsor of the NFL. And by Miller Lite, there's light beer, and then there's triple hops brewed Miller Lite. Taste greatness. Green Bay, Wisconsin. The Chicago Bears. Jay Cutler making his Bear debut. He starts from the 39-yard line, and he juggles the snap from Kreutz, and the pass is incomplete. Trying to get it to Olsen, the tight end. It'll be second down.
Well, he told us last night he thought he would have a case of the jitters to start this one, and I'd say that's jitters.
Yeah.
Just kind of get it up there and throw it out there. You know, it's tough. Your first ever game against your arch rival right here in their place.
But no harm, no foul after the juggled snap. Simply an incomplete pass, second down and 10. And through the middle goes Matt Forte, who had a great rookie season, to the 41. Here's the Chicago offense.
Jay Cutler, Vanderbilt University.
Matt Forte, Tulane University.
Jason McKee, Temple.
Earl Bennett, Vanderbilt.
Devin Hester, DU.
Greg Olson, DU.
Orlando Pace, The Ohio State University.
Franco Miel, Tennessee Tech.
Olin Kreutz, Washington. Roberto Garza, Texas A&M Kingsville.
Chris Williams, Vanderbilt University.
And three new starters along the offensive front for Chicago as well as Green Bay from last season. From the gun, Cutler under pressure. The pass is incomplete. So two incomplete passes. That one intended for his former college teammate Earl Bennett. Pressure put on a corner blitz from Tramon Williams, and a very quick 3-and-out for the Bears.
Yeah, and here we go. Tramon Williams going to come on the corner blitz. Here we go. Pittsburgh style of defense. We told you about it. 3rd down and 8. If you're not successful running it on early downs, you're going to face the blitz. And that time it got there.
Brad Maynard, been around a long time, 13th year in the league. Came over from the Giants to Chicago in 01. There's the kick to the far side. Nelson backs up and hauls it in and gets taken down immediately. And that is the Bears special teams maven, the gunner Corey Graham, who pins him deep. 4 minutes, 15 seconds into the game. Nothing. NFL.com. Sunday Night Football Extra. Check it out. Packers second drive starts at the 8 after a 51-yard Brad Maynard punt. Big killing blitz. And he's going to come, and they pick him up, and Rodgers gets it off, and the pass a little bit behind, but caught by Greg Jennings, who comes back to make the grab. Nathan Vasher working on the outside with the coverage.
One of the problems that the Packers have had in the past is with Lance Briggs, number 55, coming right up the middle. A lot of changes in this offensive line, and that's certainly a good sign that the new center, Jason Spitz, was able to pick him up. And when you blitz and you don't get there, plenty of time to work on the outside.
Jennings coming back to get it. Jennings, an emerging star. 4th year in the league. Played his college ball at Western Michigan. And that's tipped at the line of scrimmage. Urlacher dives for it, but can't get there. Kevin Payne coming on a safety blitz, number 44 for Chicago.
Well, a little return the favor. You're going to do some blitzes on us. Watch Kevin Payne coming right out of the safety position, and he's going to get there on this one. These are two defenses that, you know, all the talk coming in here has been about the quarterbacks and the high-flying offenses and all that sort of stuff. Well, these defenses have had a little something to say about it early on.
Bears picking up where they left off last year. 28 deflected or batted down passes led the league in 08. Rodgers throws, and that's caught at the 26-yard line, and that's Jermichael Finley. And you should keep your eye on him as the year goes on. Second year out of Texas. He was the number 3 draft choice, and he's a monster at 6'5", 247.
Now we're starting to see a lot more of this style of player around the NFL. That bigger body tight end that can flank out and almost be used as a receiver. Here you're going to see, what do? You bring a corner out here. They have nobody on him right now.
3rd and 4. Rodgers contacted, gets away outside the pocket where he excels, and the pass is caught at the 41-yard line by Donald Driver. Urlacher came on the blitz and missed him that time. Rodgers and Cutler are both extremely proficient outside the pocket.
Well, Brian Urlacher had his shot here. He was coming on the blitz. It really was an all-out blitz. Urlacher got through and just fanned on him, couldn't get him on the ground. And Aaron Rodgers is much more athletic than I ever knew. The more tape I watched on him, that guy can really move. And as you said, he loves going right. Very high percentage going right.
1st and 10. The ball is at the 42. 8:53 to go in the opening period. Pressure on, and down he goes. And that time it was Barber, number 78, who got beaten by Agunleye. Agunleye coming around the left side, defensive left side, and he'll take a breather right here, and he beats one of the new starters, Alan Barber.
Filling in for Mark Tauscher, who's no longer on the team, and Agunleye just going to use his speed. They've really been working on their explosiveness off the ball in Chicago. Rod Marinelli coming in as the new defensive line coach, and to a man, these defensive linemen will tell you he has made an incredible difference. We know we're going to be better pass rushers this year.
2nd down 17. The ball is at the 35-yard line. Shotgun. Fake throw, inside handoff, and Grant will plug his way to the 40-yard line. And it'll be 3rd down and 12. So there is Marinelli. Rod was a great assistant coach and a longtime buddy and even a roommate of Lovie Smith when they were assistants under Tony Dungy in Tampa. Then, of course, Rod went to Detroit, got fired after the 0-16 season, and Lovie said, you got to come to Chicago.
Asked him what he learned from that experience. He said, just be a man. Admit your own shortcomings, just be a man.
3rd and 12. Good, clean pocket, but good coverage by the Bears. Steps out of a sack. Rodgers deep downfield, juggled and incomplete. Donald Driver with a juggling act. Couldn't hold on. Al Afalava, the rookie, is back there covering on the play.
Well, I tell you, one of the new guards in the game is Josh Sitton, working against the Bears' best Tommy Harris, just one-on-one throughout the course of that whole process. What a job he did. And if Donald Driver doesn't drop that one, they're going to have a big play.
Jeremy Kapanos will do the punting. This was a real sore spot last year for Green Bay, so Kapanos takes over the duties this year. This is Hester from the 14-yard line doing a 360, but then running into a couple of green shirts led by Martin. Derek Martin is right there after the spinorama. 7:13 remaining in the free shot on Rodgers, but he got the pass away, juggled and dropped by Driver. But take a look at this.
Urlacher says he's feeling better, he's running better, and that time he ran into Aaron Rodgers. Doesn't look like a late hit, didn't hit his helmet. Just a good, clean football play, and those kind of are like body punches in a prize fight. They start to add up.
Chicago's second possession. Their first was 3 and out. This one starts at the 18-yard line. Cutler to the sideline, and that pass along the sideline is caught. Hold in. Al Harris is there saying no, but it's Devin Hester going to the outside. Hester came to the league as a return man. They worked him in as a wideout last year, and this year he's their #1 receiver.
Well, Al Harris in the past has been almost strictly a bump and run corner. They haven't been showing much of that so far in the preseason. And for Devin Hester, that's a pretty sophisticated looking little catch right there, that back shoulder catch.
Here's Forte. When I say #1 receiver, I mean he's #1 on the depth chart. Earl Bennett would be #2. Let's take a look at the Green Bay defense.
Johnny Jolly, Houston, Texas, Forestbrook High.
Ryan Pickett, Ohio State University.
Cullen Jenkins, Mac Champion, Central Michigan.
Aaron Campbell, Iowa.
AJ Hawk, The Ohio State University.
Nick Barnett, Oregon State.
Brady Papinga, Brigham Young.
Charles Woodson, University of Michigan.
Atari Bigby, Miami Senior High School.
Nick Collins, Bethune-Cookman. Al Harris, A&M Kingsville.
And on 2nd down and 7, that pass to the outside is caught by Earl Bennett. So Bennett is in his second year with Chicago. Played last year, but didn't catch a pass. So that's his first National Football League reception. He's going to get a bunch more because, as I mentioned before, he was a freshman when Cutler was a senior. They played together with great success at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, he graduated as the all-time leading receiver in the SEC, and that's pretty good. And no question about it, Jay Cutler likes throwing to him the best. I mean, he pretty well made that clear.
From the 49, Bears are not huddling. It's almost like the old sugar huddle in Cincinnati.
That's it.
And that pass is incomplete. The pressure put on Cutler that time. He had to get rid of it in a hurry because Brandon Schiller, 54, the inside backer in that 3-4 alignment, came bursting through.
Tramon Williams coming again on a blitz off the corner, but Jay Cutler saw it. I mean, he anticipated. They went with the long snap count. He saw it coming. I'm surprised they weren't able to hit something big against it. Usually when you catch a defense blitzing, you come up with something big. They did not that time.
2nd and 10. That time only 2 linemen with their hands on the ground, and this is Hester who gets close to a first down. We'll see where they spot the ball. The umpire is across the yellow line. It will be a first down. Now the line judge comes in to respot it, and it's very close. And Ron Winter says first down anyway.
And that play worked because the Packers came with both their inside linebackers. So once they got it to the outside, there was no inside-out pursuit. Came up with a big play.
Again, they're running a 3-4, but only 2 guys right now with their hands down along that defensive front. Short drop. Cutler throws to the outside, and that's Bennett again making the catch. He's covered by the left corner, Tramon Williams. One of the guys we'll have to keep an eye on all year long is Aaron Campman, who has been through the years one of the best defensive ends in the National Football League, and now in the 3-4 he plays outside linebacker.
And you see the graphic there, 37 sacks, and yet in this defense under Dom Capers, about half the time, or maybe a quarter of the time, he's going backwards into pass coverage. I don't know how excited he is about the change either.
You saw Capers, formerly the head coach at Carolina and at Houston, when each of those franchises was in its first season. Cutler under pressure. He'll escape outside the pocket. Downfield, and that pass is almost intercepted. So he's lucky that Tramon Williams didn't pick it off. Instead of a turnover, it's a 3rd down and 5. And Cutler pleading his case with Ron Winter here.
Yeah, Jay Cutler thought his receiver got held down the field, but we're talking about Aaron Campman. He's going to be working against Chris Williams, who's coming back off of that surgery, maybe even gotten a little bit of the face mask there. But you see the mobility for Cutler coming out. See if we get a grab on the tail end of it. I think we did. And Jay Cutler was right.
Cutler has started 4 of 8 for 43 yards. They have the speedster Johnny Knox, number 13, a rookie in the game. Cutler throws to the right side, and that one's almost picked off again. Tramon Williams, in miscommunication that time. Earl Bennett was the intended receiver, and a penalty. Flag on the play, and Cutler wringing his left hand.
I have no idea what Earl Bennett was doing there. He almost gave up a touchdown. Cut his route off, and that was close.
Illegal contact. Defense. 5-yard penalty. And an automatic first down.
Boy, that is huge right there, because they were not going to be in field goal range, and now they get the first down. Look at Bennett at the top of the screen here. He stops on this route, and Cutler thought he was going to continue out. Very lucky.
Where was the illegal contact?
Down the field. It was like one of the safeties.
In Fond du Lac. It was way out of the play. 1st and 10 at the 31-yard line.
There goes Olsen flanked out now. They put Woodson on him.
Cutler out of the pocket, throws, and that's intercepted at the 13-yard line. Nick Collins ran 3 interceptions back for touchdowns last season, and this one he takes it back to the 44-yard line. The ball-hawking safety, Nick Collins. And for Cutler, that was really a series to forget. He almost got picked 3 times. He did get once right here by Collins to give Green Bay the ball near midfield. No score.
sent up the middle.
Yep, and it's live.
Oh my God!
And after that, the premiere of Parks and Rec.
This is it.
See you Thursday on NBC.
Tomorrow night's the night. Jay Leno is back. Comedy the weeknights in prime time at 10 Eastern and Pacific, 9 Central and Mountain. Jay Leno in prime time debuting tomorrow night. There's Tillman, who started the game, but before the game, Andrew mentioning that they will be rotating defensive backs. Urlacher makes the tackle on Grant. Meanwhile, Zachary Bowman is in the game in Tillman's spot.
Now, just to go back for 1 minute, the receivers that have been much discussed for the Chicago Bears for Jay Cutler have really let him down so far in this one. Desmond Clark just stopped on a route. Cutler was anticipating that he was going to break in front of the safety, and he just gave up on the play essentially and cost his quarterback a pick.
Now Grant again, and Grant's going to get taken down by the safety, Kevin Payne. I think, Chris, that Grant is one of the keys too to the success of this team. You figure that Rodgers is going to have a good year. They figured to be better defensively despite the scheme change. That should work eventually. And then Grant had that pulled hamstring last year. He gained 1,200 yards, but really didn't look the same as he did at the end of 2007.
Yeah, it's amazing. You're disappointed in a running back that gains 1,200 yards, but that's exactly what they were. Said he really was not feeling right until about week 10 last year. The holdout, the hamstring, and just wasn't the same. They think he should be much better this season.
3rd and 5. Rolling out. Rodgers sets. Throws deep downfield for Driver and overthrows him. Donald Driver had gotten inside the 5-yard line. Rodgers can't connect, and Green Bay will punt.
Donald Driver with a double move out and up and got all of Kevin Payne. Watch the safety come out and jump this thing in a cover 4, and he goes right by him. Boy, we have seen some missed opportunities so far for the Green Bay Packers, and Aaron Rodgers can't believe it.
Aaron has started his night 5 of 9 for 53. Hester is back. Kapanos. Fair catch call for, but then Hester lets it bounce, and it will roll into the end zone for a touchback. Chicago will take over at its own 20 with 2:39 to go in a scoreless first quarter in Green Bay. Giants, of course, revamping their wideout crew. They beat Washington today, and it's Earl Bennett and Hester and Cutler. But they're the top 2 receivers, and now Forte with only their 3rd running play, and he's tackled for a loss of 1. Forte, a great year last year, won the job, came out of Tulane, got his degree in finance there in the offseason as well, and he played more than any running back in the league last year. Almost never came off the field. He was in for about 85% of Chicago's play. So an every down back, and a guy who does just about everything dead right.
Yeah, and I'm really stunned that they haven't tried harder to get him going early on. Anytime you're on the road like this, you want to establish a run, and the Bears have just not been able to do it.
Now they'll try to, and here's Forte again. And that's a gain of 8. Setting up a 3rd down and 3 as we tick down under 2 minutes. Last year, his rookie year started in Indianapolis, had a big night, including a long touchdown run against the Colts. You take a look at some of the numbers, and there it was, 84% of the offensive plays, and he accounted for more than 1/3 of their offensive yards, both in rushing and receiving. He led the club last year in receptions. Might catch the ball a few less times this year, but that remains to be seen, assuming the wideouts come along the way. Cutler and Ron Turner, the offensive coordinator. Hope, 3rd and 3. And Cutler throws, and that is dropped by Greg Olsen, who will be one of his new favorite targets as well. But instead of a 1st down, it's a 3 and out again as Charles Woodson put the pressure that time on the quarterback.
Well, Charles Woodson right here is going to be the key to this defense this season. Much like Rod Woodson was with the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're going to line him up all over the field, bring him on blitzes. He makes all the calls, all of the audibles back there. He is the key guy on this defense now.
Maynard to punt, Jordy Nelson to run it back. 4-yard boot. At the 29, Nelson. Rasheed Davis finally makes the tackle at the 41-yard line. Green Bay starts there. So Rodgers took over last year after the drama with Brett Favre. Was he or wasn't he? Eventually gets traded to the Jets. Most pass yards in a season when he made his first start. You can see Kurt Warner, number 1. He was 2. And there are his numbers. Take a look at that in the red zone. 19 TDs, no picks, and a rating of 106.8.
I thought it was interesting when he said the jerseys in the stands were split between mine, Brett Favre's, and Brett Favre's Jets jerseys last year.
From the 41. And the pressure's put on, and again, Ogunleye coming around the left defensive side, and he does it again on Alan Barber. Second sack for him.
Well, so far, this has been a bit of a nightmare for Barber out here. Ogunleye just simply getting off quicker. Barber is showing no match, and really what's strange about that is they talked about how Barber was the most athletic of their offensive linemen, and yet it's quickness that's beating him right now.
Ogunleye, coming into tonight's game, had played against the Packers 10 times, had not had a sack. Tonight he has 2 in the quarter. 2nd and 17. Grant goes in motion. Sets up in the slot to the left. Rodgers to the right side, and that pass is dropped. It was Donald Driver who was falling down as the ball got to him. Incomplete. 3rd down and 17.
Boy, I've seen Donald Driver drop more balls tonight than I see him typically drop in a couple of games. He is usually their sure-handed, their most reliable receiver. He's been around here for a long time, 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons, and yet he's off to a very slow start.
11 years for Donald, who was a 7th-round draft choice out of Alcorn State in '99. 3rd and 17. Rodgers flushed out again. Throws underneath. And that's caught by Deshaun Wynn coming out of the backfield. And Deshaun Wynn gets taken down by Mark Anderson at the 41-yard line. It'll be 4th and 10 as the quarter ends. End of 1 at Lambeau Field. The Chicago Bears nothing, and the Green Bay will start it with a punt. Capanos to do the punting for the Packers. Hester is backed up and lets it go, and that one will bounce into the end zone. Another way to keep it away from Devin. Some other notes from today. What took place, the buzz around the NFL this afternoon. Well, there was some buzz. We'll get it up eventually.
We'll buzz you later.
How about Josh McDaniels? It reminds me like of Brian Billick. You know, he's an offensive genius. He goes to Baltimore. He wins a Super Bowl with his defense. Not that McDaniels won the Super Bowl, but he has no offense today. The defense does a great job, and then they have the miracle play at the end.
Of course, they're playing the Bengals.
The Bengals, right?
Happen against the Bengals.
Right. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Here's Forte, and Forte gets taken down in the backfield, and he is slung down by Cullen Jenkins on an MMA move.
It is absolutely huge for the Packers to get Cullen Jenkins back. He's another one of those guys, when they told him that he was going to be playing a 34 end, he was like, say what? You got to be kidding me. He was not happy. He loves being able to get on the outside and rush the passer, a very athletic guy. He thought he would be stuck in this 2-gapping system, but he said, once I saw what they were going to do and let me penetrate and get up the field, I'm all right with it.
2nd and 11. Forte again. Works his way out of traffic up to the 28-yard line. That'll set up a 3rd down and short.
Well, Matt Forte is one of those guys that really has a great feel and great vision and patience back there. You could see him that time. There was really no hole to speak of, and yet he just sat there and waited for something to feel like it was open, broke off to the left, and now instead of 3rd and long, they're 3rd and short, and the Bears have a lot of options here.
3rd and 3 from the 27. Cutler rolling, and then throws into a lot of traffic, and that's incomplete, intended for Earl Bennett. Defense doing a very good job tonight. Cutler is 4 of his first 11 for 43 yards.
Here's one of the favorite blitzes for the Green Bay Packers. They love coming with this one. And A.J. Hawk was a guy that was pretty excited about the possibility of playing in this defense because of the fact that it gave him a chance to use his speed. He thought he would double or triple the number of sacks that he's had in the past.
Bennett heard a few footsteps on that one. Maynard. And the kick is almost blocked. Maynard goes down, but there's no flag. And now it's Jordy Nelson taking it, and he's out of bounds at the 22-yard line early in the second quarter. Green Bay and Chicago scoreless.
It gives the world fewer smog-forming emissions.
Seasons in the NFL. Nice man. He's the only man to have caught a touchdown pass from both Montana and Favre, as Ryan Grant picks up 2 yards on the first play in this series. It'll be second down, make it 3 yards, second down and 7.
Al, could you hear some of the calls going back and forth there that time? Because we were talking with Aaron Rodgers, and he was saying that he and Urlacher are trying to steal each other's signals out there. But these two quarterbacks so far, with all the attention coming into it, not much to show so far. Nobody's really been able to make a play.
No, this is like old Bears Packers.
And old Bears Packers quarterbacks.
Yes. Second down and 8. Inside handoff out of the gun goes to Grant. He's going to be about 3 yards shy of the first down. Walker is there. 3rd and 3.
Tommy Harris coming back in the game, and he's a guy that in the heyday when this team was playing in the Super Bowl a few years ago, he was the man.
3rd and 3 from the 29.
Anthony Adams, who has won the nose tackle position, coming out of there now as they try and apply a little pass rush. And watch those 2 inside linebackers. They love putting pressure right over the center. They're both up there now.
3rd and 3 from the 29-yard line. Here they come. Line does a good job. Rodgers throws, caught, first down, and that's Donald Driver. Danielle Manning, the safety, makes the tackle. So just as the pocket was collapsing, he gets it away right on the numbers.
Well, the 4-man rush was working, but they're still bringing these inside backers, and what a great job picking it up inside. And any time on a blitz, you can give your quarterback that much time for the receivers to work down the field. Chance for some big plays. Maybe that'll jumpstart this offense.
From the 41st down. Look out. Jennings. Close to a first down. Runs a little out on Nathan Vasher on the right defensive side.
And I think you'll see the Packers working on Vasher on the outside. He's a guy that's gone through a lot of injuries over the past couple of years. And when you talk to some of the people inside the Bears organization, clearly he has lost some confidence of where he was a while back. But they've had so many injuries back in the secondary to Tillman and Bowman that they really had no choice. They had to play him all preseason.
Vasher was a Pro Bowler back in 05. That was an 11-yard gain. It's first down just across midfield. And Grant has room to the outside. And Grant will pick up the first down before he's bounced out of bounds by Kevin Payne.
Well, for Alan Barber, he's had a rough night so far, but he does a great reach block here, getting outside and making this block. And then that's the fullback, Kuhn, coming around there to seal that thing off. And for Packers fan, that's an exciting run, because the one thing that they have not been able to do is get outside with Ryan Grant. They said he lost some of his explosiveness a season ago, but right there is about as good as they've done to the outside.
Longest rush of the game for either team, 17 yards. It'll toss back to him over the right side, through a hole inside the 20. And Payne finally chasing him down again along with Afalava, but a flag is down back at the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Offense number 72. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
That's the center. That's Jason Spitz.
Well, it's a good call because he certainly was the key. Watch the center right here. I thought he made a great block on Israel Donijay. Apparently the officials thought he grabbed a little jersey there as he was turning. Really had no reason to do that. He used his quickness to get position and then just got a little greedy with the hold. Didn't have to do it.
Take a look at that. Last year he played 1,012 snaps, no holding penalties.
First and 20 from the 43.
And he gets one here. First down and 20. 10 minutes to go. First half, no score. Ball at the Chicago 43-yard line. Off his back foot. Pass to the right side and nothing happening right there. Tillman with the coverage on Donald Lee. A little parking going on.
Aaron Rodgers is one of those guys that really does not have to step into his throws to make good throws down the field. He is fully capable of throwing in weird positions, has a huge arm, but I don't know why he scrambled out of there. I just got the feeling that maybe he's a little uncomfortable with what's going on with his right side with Alan Barber, and there's Charles Tillman, who's notorious for trying to rip the football out of receivers' hands.
With a lot of success normally. Second and 23. Open over the middle. This is Lee. And Lee gets bounced down at the 38. There's some irony here, Chris, too, with McCarthy coaching Rodgers when Mike was the offensive coordinator under Dick Nolan in San Francisco in the draft before Rodgers was eligible to be drafted out of the University of California. McCarthy looked at him and Alex Smith, and he went for Alex Smith, who's still on the bench in San Francisco. So all of a sudden, McCarthy gets the head coaching job here, and he goes, you know, I really liked you from the outside.
I really liked you. But he said he went right up to him right away and said, hey, let's get this over with. Okay, I didn't draft you. All right, we're done.
3rd and 15 from the 38-yard line. Driver. And he gets away from Payne. And he gets back to what was the original line of scrimmage at the start of this set of downs, and with 8:40 to go, it's a 4th and 11.
But that was a huge play there by Donald Driver. He got him in field goal range. Without that extra effort, without those extra 5 yards, they're out of range, but now they're going to have an opportunity to try this.
And this is going to be still a 52-yard field goal attempt. Crosby missed from 49. Downside to this is that if they miss it, Chicago gets the ball at the 42. The upside is if you make it, you have the lead, and they do. First points of the night, 18 to the half. Green Bay leads 3-0. Jim Taylor was able to get into the end zone for the only Packer touchdown on the day when the Packers win 9-7, and they carried Lombardi off the field after his debut.
They knew what they were doing.
And there is Virginia McCaskey, the daughter of George Halas, and George Halas was the coach of the Chicago Bears on the other sideline that day. Halas, of course, coached the Bears for 40 years in 4 10-year increments. Of course, he couldn't fire himself because he owned the team. Mason Crosby, who just took that 52-yard field goal, sends this one down to Danielle Manning. And Manning is stopped at the 24-yard line. It's where the Chicago Bears will try to get something going. Cutler 4 of 11 for 43 yards.
Yeah, this has not been a very good start for Jay Cutler here. And you know, Matt Forte was so happy when he heard that Cutler was coming over. He said, you know, I see 8 in the box about 85% of the time last year. And now with Cutler, I know they can't do that. But you have to complete a few passes before teams are going to start backing off the run.
McKee is the fullback. Forte, the running back. He stays in the block. Cutler's going to air it out deep downfield for Knox inside the the 20, and the rookie is out of bounds at the 8-yard line. He beats Charles Woodson. They love this kid out of Abilene Christian, a 5th-round draft choice, and part of the Cutler deal, Denver also threw in a 5th-round draft choice, and this is the guy they picked.
Tari Bigby right here came up, so they knew they were going to have single coverage. Cutler audible to this. He went to the speedster on the outside, Knox, and that's Woodson, their best corner. He goes right by him. This kid is one of the fastest players in the league right now, and nobody knows much about him. Charles Woodson does now.
At the 8-yard line, 1st and goal. Forte. And isn't that something? Because the deal is so big. You've got Cutler, you got Orton going the other way, you got 1st-round draft choices and 2nd-round picks galore, and then Denver has to throw in like a garbage pick. 5th round, and this is the guy.
Yeah, what they say about somebody else's garbage is your treasure.
How's that for a setup? You like that?
That was good.
Second down and goal. They empty the backfield. Good protection. Cutler has time, and then the pass a little high, trying to get it to Desmond Clark, the tight end, to Tari Bigby, the strong safety covering.
Well, I got to tell you, I don't really know what Desmond Clark is doing out here tonight. If he just continues to run to the corner here, he has a touchdown. Has Bigby completely beaten. There's nobody out there. You don't stop on that route. If it's a zone, you sit down back there. But if you find yourself that wide open, you just continue to the corner and you have a walk-in touchdown.
3rd down goal, ball at the 8. Yes, to get it away, and right over the middle, it's Johnny Jolly with the interception. So the heat was put on. The rush was put on. He had to get rid of it in a hurry, and he throws it right into the belly. And that is some belly of the 325-pound Johnny Jolly. His first career interception.
Welcome to Sprint's Now Network.
That's right there for the big guy. Saved him.
Johnny Jolly playing in the 3-4, right there in the garden spot. Picks him off on a 3rd and goal. Now from the 14. Rodgers off the fake. That buys a lot of time. And Aaron's going to go deep downfield into double coverage, and it's tipped, and it is incomplete. Jennings is back there, and Payne went back there with him, and Nathan Vasher as well. Long incompletion, 2nd down and 10.
The Packers have hit this several times during the course of preseason. Bootleg to the right, and instead of going corner, they go to the post, and he's wide open. This ball is just simply underthrown all preseason long. We've seen Aaron Rodgers rocket balls out of there, 60, 65 yards, and yet consistently now the Bears are getting hits on Aaron Rodgers, and I'm telling you, it's taken its toll. He is hesitating a bit on some of these throws.
That was a Gunlia. Chicago takes a timeout on defense. 2nd and 10 when we come back. 6.5 to go in the half. 3-0 Packers. Eastern and 4 p.m. Pacific. Giants Cowboys next Sunday night.
And a giant screen.
A beauty. Yes, sir.
Can't wait to see it.
2nd and 10 after the Chicago timeout. Ball at the 14-yard line. Grant knocked down in the backfield. A good line. And we go back to the pick.
Boy, what a great play by Johnny Jolly. He saves a touchdown. They're going to come with a zone blitz off of this side. You're going to see Aaron Campman drop back. And Jolly, if he doesn't make this play, it looks like a walk-in touchdown. The tackle, Chris Williams, may have tipped it just a little bit early. You could see that Jolly just sort of felt like something was not right here if they let me through that easily. Veteran play, beautiful play.
And then Cutler gets into the rookie Clay Matthews, a 3rd-generation Matthews. 3rd and 13. Rodgers flushed out, and Rodgers is going to go down in the end zone. Daniel Manning with a safety. Manning dealing with a hamstring, missed a lot of time in preseason. Was able to get back into the lineup, runs back, kicks, comes in on a safety blitz. And Chicago gets his first points of the year on a safety.
I would say that he's feeling better.
Yeah.
Danielle Manning came around there, and this blitz has just been a nightmare for Aaron Rodgers. Typically, he can make a move and get around defensive ends, but not Danielle Manning. And the nice thing that Manning did there is he kept messing around with the ball, hitting his arm, so he couldn't just throw it away. He had to tuck the ball, and if he did not do that, I really think that Rodgers would have gotten that ball out of there. Very smart move to hack at the ball, hack at that throwing arm, and it got him a safety.
One of the hallmarks, Chris, of the Lovie Smith tenure in Chicago has been defense creating turnovers and scoring points. So it would figure the first points of the season for Chicago, a safety.
You know, he said that this defense would be better. You could tell last night, you know, we were talking preseason stats, and the Packers have scored 9 out of 13 and all that kind of stuff. And Lovie's such a good guy. He's kind of just smiling and nodding at us and go, yeah, those guys are pretty amazing, aren't they? But he said, let me tell you something. We're going to be fine. Our defense is going to be way better. And remember, he's making the calls now. He's in those defensive meetings every day, and we have seen a big difference.
He's a lot like one of his mentors, Tony Dungy, in demeanor. Free kick now, and Hester's going to run it back. And Hester's going to bring it back to the 44-yard line. Tackled by John Kuhn. There's Marinelli going over stuff with his defensive lineman. Lovie since 04 when he got the job. Look at that. A fifth of the Bears' TDs have been scored by special teams or defense. The other 31 teams average is 9%, so they're twice as good as the league average.
You know, and I think one of the keys is that he was really harping on. The Packers did a good job running the football on him a season ago. And tonight what's happening is they're stuffing the run and allowing them to come after him with some blitz packages. Ron Marinelli looks like he's having fun.
From the 44-yard line on first down, Cutler rolling away and throwing, and that is incomplete. And Aaron Campbell put the pressure on. Of course, the irony of, you know, well, it's the Bears and the Packers, but it's different now because it's Cutler and it's Rodgers and it's a shootout and it's great weather and the whole thing. 3-2.
It's remarkable. And for Jay Cutler, we saw him during the exhibition season in Denver, got off to a rough start, came back, put together about a 90-play drive. But I'm really surprised that they haven't tried to run the football a little bit better. Matt Forte between the tackles, that should be the strength of this offense. And yet so far they've been getting stuffed and had to go back to throwing the ball.
His longest run 8 yards, and he's gained only 19 on 7 totes. The pass is high, but Bennett goes up for it. And then Woodson is right there to stop him initially. And winds up getting gang tackled after a minimal gain. Atari Bigby is in on the action as well with 5.5 to go.
I really think that Charles Woodson is messing with Jay Cutler here. He acted like he was going to come on a blitz here, so Cutler checks to this quick screen to the outside. Woodson goes back out and makes the tackle.
Woodson now in his 4th year here, started his career 8 years in Oakland, won the Heisman Trophy at Michigan. 3rd and 8. Pressure again. Cutler throws, and that's picked off. That's Tramon Williams into Bear territory. He's inside the 40, has blocking. Williams inside the 10 and out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. Johnny Jolly and Cullen Jenkins put the heat on Cutler from the end spots and forced another pick.
Jay Cutler's a bomb so far. He's going to roll right, but he doesn't have any receivers right. So he tries to throw one back across the middle about the same time as receiver peeled back to try and run with him. And Jay is not getting help from receivers, but he is pretty awful so far himself right now. This is just, you can't sling one of these up across the middle. There's Johnny Knox looking like he's going to go across there. But as he saw Cutler move right, his job is to go back and get in his face with him. Boy, I tell you, this has been some rough start for these two quarterbacks so far.
Bennett saves the touchdown, and now you've got a challenge flag here as Lovie Smith calls Ron Winter over. And he saw something on the replay that precipitated this. Is he challenging that he's stepping out of bounds before the 3?
Chicago is challenging a ruling on the field that the ball was not fumbled before the runner stepped out of bounds.
We'll check that out when we come back. End zone, that wasn't fumbled. His left foot is in. The ball is coming out. His right foot is going out, but the ball is coming out. His own man Woodson comes in and knocks it out. Now, if this is ruled that he fumbled through and out of the end zone, this would be a touchback. So as Winter looks at this, if he has possession before the foot comes down out of bounds, the ball is loose. If the ball is then fumbled out of the end zone, which it appears to be, this would be a touchback.
See, I think he has control until Woodson knocks it out of his hands. Despite the fact that it's moving, it's still in his fingers. It's still under control here. Now, when does this ball get knocked out?
Yep. His right foot is out of bounds there as the ball is coming loose.
I think they're going to end up marking this thing down.
Well, the foot is
out just short of the goal line.
Coming out, but he still has possession of it. Then it comes out. But it's a good challenge by Smith. He saw it on the big screen here.
So he's
this is about as close as it gets.
That steps in.
Right. Then the next foot is out.
That steps out, and I think clearly before he loses the ball. So I think they're going to mark it down on about the half-yard line, don't you?
I do too, yeah. Like the call will stand. But boy, that's a lot closer than it looked with the naked eye, obviously, and certainly worth a challenge from Lovie Smith.
That was bizarre. Initially, it did look like that first foot was out of bounds, but you can see it pretty clearly it was not. And remember, you can compile replays. You can take all the different angles. You can take the one and see that his foot was inbound that first step, go to another angle, see where the ball was.
You can open up the whole vault.
After review, with the ball in his possession, the runner stepped out of bounds at the 2-yard line. The ball was at the 1-yard line in possession when he stepped out of bounds. Therefore, it is first and goal at the 1-yard line. Chicago is charged with a team timeout. Please reset the game clock to 4:40.
And once again, as close as it can get. Possession, 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 inbounds. Still has possession, steps out of bounds with possession, then loses the ball.
It would have been really interesting if that other foot didn't come down as to whether it crossed the goal line or not before it came out.
Right.
We would have gotten a really interesting call then.
I think it did because it looks like the ball winds up in the end zone before it goes out of the end zone. But it's all moved right now, and it's a first and goal after the interception. Ryan Grant is the running back. And here's Grant trying to get to the end zone. And he will. Touchdown. Flag down. Grant's ready for a Lambeau leap, but we've got to see about the penalty first.
Oh, we'll have a good view of it. I love that tradition. I think that's great.
It's the only place they allow it.
After the score, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 96 defense. That penalty will be assessed on the kickoff. Play results in a touchdown.
Alex Brown.
The Bears are unraveling a bit here.
Ooh. Well, after Manning gave them a lot of things to cheer about and feel good about, and all of a sudden the interception by Cutler, lose the challenge. Grant goes in, personal foul, and the extra point by Crosby makes the score 10-2.
John Kuhn, the fullback, had a nice lead block on Urlacher here. That's the sort of man-on-man football they've been looking for. Right there's Kuhn. Coming in with the big hit. You know, they spent a lot of time in camp this year, Al. They were not happy with their running game. They had extra practices in pads. They had a much more physical camp, and you saw Alex Brown there with the late hit, and he might have gotten a couple of them. Yep. But the results of all that practice, of all that physical play, Chad Clifton, the left tackle, who's been here for a long time, said, I have not been through a more physical camp than what we went through this season, and hopefully it will pay dividends.
Aerial coverage tonight as you look down upon Lambeau Field in Green Bay is being brought to you by Duracell.
Now, you knew there was a possibility, as there is in every game, that offensively we don't see what we expect, right? But did you ever in your wildest imagination think we would see this from these two quarterbacks?
No. Well, especially Cutler. I mean, you would think it's not a dream scenario. 6 out of 17, 3 interceptions, and just a lot of mistiming on the pass routes and miscommunication. And then because of the penalty, you've got an easy touchback. And Chicago will start at the 20-yard line. Cutler's night so far. Not one for the memory trove.
His night or his nightmare. Roseman Clark not helping him on that one. Brilliant play by Jolly there. You really can't say too much about that one. But what they've done is they've forced him off the spot. You know, he has been forced off of his comfortable spot in the pocket. He has never been able to stand there. The pressure has been getting home all night, and we are clearly seeing a difference with Dom Capers running this defense.
Garrett Wolf comes in as the running back, his first action of the night, so Forte is on the bench. And this is the speedy Wolf, who picks up 6. He's 5'7", 185, third year out of Northern Illinois, tackled by Johnny Jolly. Again, most of you who follow football know the story very well. Cutler was going to be the quarterback in Denver for a long time. Mike Shanahan gets fired. They hire Josh McDaniels. Everything seems to be fine back in February and March, and then all of a sudden Cutler finds out McDaniels is trying to trade for Matt Castle. And a couple of weeks later, he demands a trade and gets one to Chicago. 2nd and 3. Wolf again. And Wolf able to work his way across the 30-yard line for a first down.
You know, sometimes it's easy to fall in love with a theory. And Lovie Smith is a guy who has based his career on defense, special teams, and a running game. And yet here in the first half, you kind of got the feeling they got away from that a little bit. They didn't stick to the plan that they had coming in. Of the first 15 plays they had scripted, most of those were runs, and yet that did not happen as this first half unfolded.
Right, that was what Cutler was saying last night. He said, you know what, we're still a running team, but they haven't been tonight. Cutler under pressure again, and he's going to go down behind the line of scrimmage. It's Brandon Chiller, number 54.
What a play by Brandon Chiller. Garrett Wolf is going to try and come out and cut him, and watch Chiller go right over the top of him. It's like Ronaldo Nehemiah jumping over the top. What a play. He is some athlete, without question. He is their best cover linebacker, and he's been so good in the preseason. They said, we just got to find a way to get him on the field.
Wolf playing the role of a hurdle. 2nd down and 12. Now Wolf, and he runs into his own man, and that's Al Harris, who comes in to break the play up. Harris and Woodson, those two corners, have been around forever, each in their 12th season in the league.
Boy, Al Harris was probably the guy who had the biggest adjustment to make when the changes were made on this defense. I don't think in his career he's ever played an off corner. But he said, you know, it's kind of fun because you get a chance to look back at the quarterback, you see the plays unfold, and you get a chance to make some special plays. Well, we saw one there.
3rd and 13, and the Bears will let the clock run down to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to the half. Green Bay 10, Chicago 2.
In overtime.
The Samsung LED TV. It's football in hyper-real.
Play the game millions have won. Scrabble at Subway. You could win $100,000 jackpots or exclusive prizes like Prius cars, beaches vacations, cash, and Live Nation VIP concert access. Play Scrabble at Subway, where winners eat.
Hello, I'm a Mac.
And I'm a PC, and here at PC Innovations Lab...
Wait, PC Innovations Lab?
Well, you know how you have your patented MagSafe cord that pops out anytime someone trips over it?
Sure.
Well, we're protecting PCs with this new air-cushioned enclosure.
It's bubble wrap.
And you know how you have your revolutionary new battery that lasts almost an entire workday? Well, we are offering this new extremely long cord.
PC, shouldn't innovations make people's lives easier?
Well, that's exactly why we've developed these. Cheers to innovation.
I was the biggest in Biggest Loser history, and I've lost 142 pounds. But I still have a long, long way to go. I love who I am, I love who I'm becoming, and I'm not going back.
The new season of Biggest Loser this Tuesday on NBC.
The Toyota halftime show coming up. We'll look at Adrian Peterson, the day he had. Mark Sanchez leading the Jets to a win, that unbelievable finish in Cincinnati. And Bob Costas will speak with Jay Leno live, all coming up on the Toyota halftime show. Adrian Peterson, the other Adrian Peterson, number 29 for Chicago, is in the game. 3rd and 12, flanking Cutler. Cutler flushed out, stepping up. He's going to run with the ball. Cutler to the outside, and he's going to be spun down after a gain of 9, and that'll set up another Chicago punt. Nick Collins is there to trip him up.
You know, the Packers only have 1 sack, that of course for the safety so far in this half, but it feels like he's been sacked about 10 times, doesn't it? I mean, every time he goes back, you can see that Cutler is looking at the pass rush. They're showing blitz left, they're bringing blitz right. He's been getting hit on a lot of occasions. He's been flushed out of the pocket on almost every throw, and he is simply flustered right now. He is a frustrated quarterback, and they are going to have to settle him down at halftime.
How do you think they feel in Chicago in terms of frustration right now?
You know, it's bizarre, but I tell you, we can't get away from the fact that this Packers defense under Dom Capers is that much better. They've been showing it during the preseason, and it is showing up here in the regular season opener as well.
Green Bay just took a timeout to conserve time. They have 2 remaining when they get the ball back. 1:52 to the half. Maynard to punt. Good angle kick. That's a beauty. And it's fielded by Jordy Nelson out of bounds at the 12-yard line.
Well, some things never change in this rivalry, and that's the hitting that's going on out here so far in this one. Urlacher really set the tone early. Hester and Al Harris fighting a little bit on the outside, even the little guys. But some of these pressures on the quarterback really has been the difference on both sides. Essentially, we really only had 3 offensive points. You know, we got the safety, we got the only touchdown set up by an interception. The offense has just been non-existent in this game.
Rodgers from the 11. 3-man rush, enough to get to his feet. And the pass is incomplete, throws that into traffic, and that's Alex Brown coming in to force the issue. 2nd and 10.
Agunlie is killing Alan Barber on the outside. This has just been no match and really a bunch of the difference. Watch this. Agunlie is just going to give him the old hump move and just throw him aside. And for Aaron Rodgers, he's thinking, you got to give me a little help out there. Either that or go find Mark Tauscher.
Agunlie has already had 2 sacks and a few pressures as well. Deshaun Wynn comes into the game on 2nd and long, flanking Rodgers. And they're going to give it to Wynn. And he gets upended at the 15-yard line by Lance Briggs.
I think that's absolutely the right call there. You're playing the clock. You got to understand what kind of game this is. A game completely dominated by the defense. The Bears only have one timeout remaining, so you want to milk this clock a little bit in case you cannot pick up this first down. Would not be surprised if they ran it again.
Third and 5. Rodgers took the play clock down to 5. Now he's going to air it deep downfield, and that is incomplete. So they milk some time off the clock. Then he tries to hit James Jones. They take it down to 54 seconds, and now Chicago's going to get the ball back, and 93 is in again on the quarterback.
Aaron Rodgers has no chance. Ogunleye is just, they're chipping on him now, and Barber has almost given up. And Rodgers is being impacted. This is the least accurate I have seen him in a long time. Clearly, these hits are getting in his head. We talked about those body blows. They are adding up right now for Aaron Rodgers.
Jeremy Kapanis. They're caught by Hester at the 41-yard line. Chicago and Green Bay have been meeting since 1921. For Cutler, a first half to forget. For Rodgers, not a particularly good first half. For the Ogunleye, defensively, 2 sacks for Chicago. Manning was that sack of Rodgers in the end zone for a safety. And the interception run back by Williams, setting up the only touchdown in the game, scored by Grant.
Keep your eyes on Woodson, the top of your screen up there.
Cutler throws, and that's caught, and that's Johnny Knox on a slant. He takes the ball into Green Bay territory, 1st and 10, and Chicago will come up to the line of scrimmage. They have 1 timeout. They used 1 defensively. They used 1 when they lost the challenge. And Cutler will spike it and saves the timeout. And you've got 27 seconds on the clock.
Well, remember now, by not running the ball or completing that pass on 3rd down, you did preserve the timeout. And so that was a bit of a risky move, trying to convert with a pass play down there, because now, as bad as Jay Cutler in this offense has been, if they can do something in this final drive before the half, maybe they build a little momentum here.
Pick up about 12, 15 more yards, and at least they'll have a Robbie Gould field goal attempt. And that pass is caught, and that's Bennett at the 30. Now it's dropped. Bennett drops it at the 34-yard line. Bennett went to the ground, couldn't hold on, covered by Williams. 21 ticks remaining.
This game's starting to look a little too big for some of these Bears receivers. Tough catch, but very makeable. And it's not just the drops, Al. It's the unsettled look that they have. It's the misreading of coverage. It's the not finding the open zones. They talked about it all year, the inexperience of these receivers, and it has really shown up here in this opener.
3rd and 10. And they're going to give the ball to no avail to Matt Forte at the 49-yard line. And he's tackled there by Aaron Campbell. And that is some defensive performance by Green Bay, and a very odd play call here to end the half.
But why don't you take a timeout and try a Hail Mary here?
Well, right now you've got a timeout.
Timeout. Chicago.
Yeah, there you go.
They heard you. Right, you might as well.
I said, oh man, was that 4th down? Did I completely miss that?
Yep.
You know, I mean, without question, you got a guy that can throw it 60 yards flat-footed. You take a shot. There's Dom Capers, and well, I tell you, this has been some effort by his defense. This defense looks completely different than what they were a season ago. They're attacking, they're aggressive, they're confident. Been impressive. You say all that, you hit one Hail Mary, and all of a sudden the game's completely changed, doesn't it?
On the other side of the coin, you don't want a sack fumble here either.
Yeah, I'm sure Cutler's not too thrilled with the idea of throwing another interception in this half either.
So final play of the half, barring the defensive foul. And Cutler, well, he's going to almost get sacked. Then he's going to buy time. Then he's going to launch one into the end zone. A jump ball, and it is incomplete. Greg Olsen was there, and Bennett was there, and Hester was there. But so were a passel of Packers. And that is the end of the half in Green Bay. 10-2, the Packers leading the Bears. On the other side of the break, the Toyota halftime show on NBC.
Okay, what would it take to...
A great year running back kickoffs last year. Takes it out to the 22. Chicago sets up shop there, and we check in with Andrea Kramer.
All right, guys, you know Lovie Smith, ever the optimist. He refused to admit to me that Jay Cutler was out of sync. He said he knows he shouldn't have thrown 3 interceptions. He won't do it in the second half. He told the team overall, we're down 3 takeaways, but only 1 score. As for Mike McCarthy, his biggest concern at halftime, how to get Aaron Rodgers in rhythm. He said pass protection and penalties are killing them.
Right now, the penalties for Green Bay, there's still only been 2 penalties against the Packers. From the 21-yard line now on first down, this is Matt Forte. The pressure on Cutler, I think, has been the key in the first half, Chris.
You know, Al, I'd like to tell you there's some complex formula, and yes, they're bringing some corner blitzes and all that kind of stuff. But right now, the Green Bay Packers defense is just whipping them. I mean, one-on-one matchups, they're taking these guys and getting there. Just incredible efforts like the one you just saw there from Chiller. This is a defense that is winning individual battles at the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 9. They had Olsen line up as a fullback, and they give it to Forte. And before Camden can knock him down, he picks up a first down. And I really think that's the answer. As bad as it is and as bad as it's been, if you can start to establish the run a little bit, all of a sudden you don't see all those elaborate blitzes. You don't zone blitz a running team because you're dropping defensive linemen backwards. So you have to come out here in the second half and establish that running game. First down, 32-yard line. And this time not getting out of the backfield because Cullen Jenkins, number 77, is right there to make sure he doesn't. And knocks him down behind the line for a loss of 3. It'll be second down and 13. Cullen Jenkins is just embarrassing this team. Here he's working against the new left guard, Frank Omiel, and he just throwing him aside like a rag doll. I mean, that's the kind of individual victories that we're seeing play after play after play. Second down, 13 from the 29. Bennett. And Bennett can't get out of the way of Chris Williams, who was his college teammate as well. They both played at Vanderbilt. Short gain on the play of 4 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 9. You know, Al, even when we've seen the Bears guess right and call the right play, that time they brought zone blitz to the offense's left side. They threw the quick screen to the right side, and they basically got 3 or 4 yards out of it. They need somebody, and especially somebody on the outside, to come up with a big play, or else they're just going to keep attacking. Hester had one early. Maybe you come back to him. 3rd and 9. Olsen without a catch in the game to this point. And then Cutler floats one into double coverage, and that is caught by Bennett. So Earl Bennett, his college teammate, makes the catch. It was Woods in the corner and Bigby, the safety, both there. Threw it into traffic, and Bennett comes up with it for a big first down, 21-yard gain. Al, it's the first time I've seen Jay Cutler stand strong in the pocket. They're bringing pressure, but watch him. He just takes his time, relaxes, hits the throw. In the first half, every time he got a little pressure, he would come scrambling out of there. There he looked like a pocket passer and made a perfect throw. From the 46, now Forte to the outside. With a little bit of room to the 40-yard line, Brandon Chiller comes up to make the tackle, and that'll make it 2nd down and 4. And think about how this all got started. They ran a couple of times. They got it going a little bit. Now they're able to get to the outside. You have to attack a defense at all angles. You have to force them to defend the run. You have to force them to defend the sweeps, the outside. Then you can get some play action going. The Bears are a play action passing team, but they can't get to it unless they can run. So the Chicago's outgained Green Bay 2-1, but the big difference was the turnovers. 3-0. And then McKee drops the pass on a 2nd down and 3. So it'll be 3rd
3 now with 11:23 to go in the third.
Well, they're bringing everybody from all different angles, and that's what Dom Capers is going to be. Atari Bigby, the safety, is going to come. Jay sees it. Hot read. Nice route. Should have picked up the first down, dropped the ball. So even when they get it right, they get it wrong.
Dom Capers. Last year, he was on the New England staff. Before that, on the Miami staff. Before that, the head coach of the Houston Texans.
And Mike McCarthy didn't know him at all when he hired him.
Right. 3rd down and 3 from the 39-yard line. And a toss to Forte. He cuts it back, and Forte might have it up to the first down. Ed Linesman comes in for the spot, very close to a first down. Ron Winter will bring in the chain gang.
Orlando Pace got out in front of this when the big tackle. You see him, he's been there for a long time playing that tackle position, but he's just not nearly as athletic as he once was. You can see just doesn't have the foot speed he once did, and this is really close.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty good decision here. That much.
I think it's no decision. The way your offense has been playing, I think you have to show something here. You have to say I have some confidence in these guys. And you got a great running back. You've got a big offensive line. This is your moment.
Too far for a field goal. The field goal would have to be 54 yards. You could pooch punt it, but you're right. I think this is going to send a message right now. I mean, if you're going to punt in this situation, you made the trade for Cutler. You got Forte, one of the best backs in the league. It's 4th and inches. If you don't make it, you rely on your defense.
Owen Kreutz last night said that our big issue last year was we couldn't convert a lot of these 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 situations. The Packers will attack the gaps here.
3 backs. In effect, a power eye, and Cutler takes a look at the defense and calls a timeout. 4th and inches when we come back.
Too hot even for that tonight. Not many of them on tonight. Better in the wintertime.
4th and inches after the timeout.
Forte flying was my prediction.
And instead it's a sneak by Cutler. Does he get it? Cutler took the snap, lunges forward.
I thought he did, didn't you?
Yeah, I did too. All I needed was a couple of inches, and it should be enough for a first down. Green Bay says no. Ron Winter says yes, and that's all that matters.
Well, let's see if that's the momentum shift now that they've needed. Get a chance to rest your defense a little bit. Jay Cutler showing a little guts here, going right into the teeth of that defense. And boy,
I wonder what can anybody tell.
Have fun.
At the 36. Cutler deep for Hester, touchdown. Sooner or later, Devin Hester with that great speed, 36 yards down the right sideline, and now 2 points away from tying the game.
I absolutely cannot believe that Nick Collins doesn't get this ball. He's playing right there. They have double coverage on Devin Hester. Look at him. He's way over on the right-hand side. There's just no way he doesn't make that play. Wow. They had single coverage on the other side. Al Harris in single coverage. They've got Devin doubled. Safety sitting right there, and they throw it right past him. For all the great defense, boy, that's a big mistake there.
Big breakdown. They could go for 2, but it's too early in Lovie Smith's mind to do that. They'll settle for making it a 1-point game, and Robbie Gould boots the point after.
And Nick Collins is limping over here. Something might have happened to him.
Devin Hester for the touchdown. They convert on 4th and 1, score, and make it 10-9. Will be there. Music by Jay-Z, Kanye West, and Rihanna. And that's just the first night. Jay Leno in primetime. Manana. Brian Urlacher, and the report from the bench is a wrist injury. And we'll see if he comes out with Jordy Nelson to run back the kick. And Nelson up to the 31-yard line.
Well, great throw, great catch. Don't want to take that away, but look at the coverage we've got over here. We've got underneath coverage here by Woodson. Nick Collins back here, and single coverage over on the backside. So I just thought, what the heck, he's going to throw it left, and I think everybody else did too. But right over the top goes Devin Hester, and Nick Collins just takes a poor angle, or I don't know what it was. It wasn't like he got tricked on the route or anything. He just didn't get there.
They just wheeled him into the locker room. Meanwhile, Urlacher is out. Hunter Hillenmeyer is in the game. Pisatina Samoa was certainly the first player of the game, and he's done for the night. And the pass is juggled and bobbled, but eventually it's Corey Hill making the catch and taking it up to the 42-yard line.
Well, you just wonder if that halftime did some good for both these quarterbacks. You know, we saw Jay Cutler come out, settle down, look more poised in the pocket. And now Aaron Rodgers, instead of trying to throw everything down the field, you think about it in the first half, everything we saw was going way down the field. Now they come back, a little more ball control, make some plays, set up the big ones just the way the Bears did.
Hall's reception is good for an 11-yard gain, first down, 42-yard line. Rodgers pressured from the back. And finally driven into the ground after Nick Roach created it. It's Al Afalava, the rookie sixth-rounder out of Oregon State, who earns a starting job and gets his first NFL sack.
Listen to Aaron Rodgers here call out 53.
Lucky 53.
Which what that means is the offensive line now is supposed to treat him as one of their 5 guys. So Chad Clifton had him by himself, and it was something that Rodgers saw clearly, but Clifton missed the block.
That was Roach. Second down and 19, and Rodgers slings it over the middle, and it's incomplete. Jordy Nelson was the intended receiver. Rodgers very accurate and throws a almost perfect tight spiral, the kind of spiral you'd see like in the NFL films, super slow-mo.
Yeah, but those spirals are hitting the ground more than they're hitting guys. Pretty nice move on the outside by Jordy Nelson. And we have just seen those guys time after time this preseason make all these plays. Beautiful throw, and really a play that Nelson needs to make. Tough catch. I mean, it's a tough catch, but they've been missing like that all night.
Third down and 19 from the 34-yard line. A little dump off, and that's incomplete. He tried to dump it to win, and it's Ogunleye again, who's had a feast tonight in the Green Bay backfield.
Well, this is like a broken record here. It's just time after time coming around the outside shoulder of Barber, and he's not even slowing him down. And that's just a screen pass. You know, and if you're wondering, the backup, Bruno Giacomini, is inactive tonight. And he's the guy that Barber was battling with for that job. Barber won it, but Giacomini is not available.
Not even giving him a trim. Sorry, I couldn't have it. Here's Hester. Short punt, Hester. The ever dangerous one. Running parallel along the 30 and then finally out of bounds at the 35-yard line. 8.5 minutes to play in the third quarter. Back comes Cutler and the Bear offense. Green Bay by a point.
Hi, my name is Kylie.
Is done. He will be one of Cutler's favorite targets, but no catches tonight. And unofficially, there have been 4 balls thrown his way.
No catches, and Matt Forte no catches. So the top 2 leading receivers from a season ago haven't seen the ball yet.
Meanwhile, Bennett's caught 5, and of course the big one was Hester, the touchdown, and Knox has caught 2, one of them for 68 yards. Quick throw, and that's Bennett. And Bennett will pick up a first down. So 6 catches for the former Vandy Commodore as he worked his way through Tramon Williams.
Well, I tell you what, there's some quick footwork here. Check how fast Jay Cutler whips around there and makes that throw. Anytime you see the corner that far off, they were up 8 in the box. They were anticipating run. Nice read by Cutler. I think mentally, emotionally, I think he's settling down. I see him making better decisions. He's standing taller in the pocket. He just looks like a different quarterback right now.
He's working against the secondary with Collins back in the locker room. So Aaron Rouse, 37, who's been bothered by a hamstring himself, is in at one safety spot. Now Forte, he's got a little bit of room and he gets bounced down, but not until he reaches the 44-yard line. Nick Barnett, number 56, makes the tackle. Barnett coming off ACL surgery. Last year, there was only one catch by the Bears offense on a pass 30 or more yards from scrimmage because Orton was the quarterback. Tonight, already 2. Hester 1. Knocks the other. 2nd and 5.
Couple to the other team too, though.
Yeah. Forte again. 3rd and short. You know how tough fans can be sometimes, Chris? At halftime, I walk out into the hall. There's a Bears fan. He's already turned his Cutler jersey around. He says, "I can't take it." He says, "Where's Sid Luckman? He's got the 6 backwards." I think he's reversed it again.
Oh, boy. You know, this is such a strange league. It really is. Every time you think you know what's going to happen, it comes out the other end. I really thought we were going to see an offensive explosion out here tonight with these two guys.
1-point game, 3rd down and 2. Ball at the 41-yard line.
They've got Campman outside.
Cutler over the middle and open to make the catch is Desmond Clark. And Clark reaches for his back. He's hurt, but he has a 1st down at the 18-yard line, and they went to work on the substitute safety, Aaron Rouse, playing in place of Nick Collins. Gain of 23.
And Aaron Rouse was way out of there. He was a good 30 yards back. Cutler saw it and hit it right down the seam. Look at him. He is just a different quarterback. Look how settled he is. Remember the first half, and let's give some credit. I mean, in the first half, they were chasing him all around, and in this half, the protection has been much, much better. But you can just see a different style of play from Cutler. He's standing tall right now.
Clark down, 6:12 to go. Injury timeout. 10-9 Green Bay. Sideline, Ron Turner's the offensive coordinator. Jay Cutler, the quarterback. Cutler is from Santa Claus, Indiana, was recruited by Turner when Turner was the head coach at Illinois. But that broke down along the way to Champaign. From the 18-yard line after the timeout. Here's Forte to the 16-yard line.
Yeah, it really. Jay Cutler thought he had a scholarship offer. One of the assistant coaches had offered him a deal, and so he was waiting around, and then finally he said, "Okay, I accept it." But Ron Turner, the head coach, didn't know what he was talking about. He didn't know what his assistant had done. And lo and behold, as it sometimes happens, all of a sudden Jay Cutler is now your quarterback in the NFL. And he said, "The first thing I did is what happened." He goes, "Was it me? Was I the one that offered you the scholarship?" And he got all nervous. He said, "Calm down. It's your assistant. Don't worry about it."
2nd and 8 and a whistle before the snap.
It was interesting, though, talking with Ron about the possibility of getting him here.
False start. Offense number 74. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Chris Williams.
He said that about a week and a half before the trade was made, when they first figured out that maybe this had a possibility, they came to Ron and they said, "We want you to watch some tape on Jay Cutler and tell us whether or not we should make a trade." He said, "I went back there, put on about 10 minutes worth of tape." He said, "Are you kidding me? Is it a joke? Yes, we want this guy."
Well, he's from Santa Claus, Indiana. It was like a Christmas present for the offensive staff of the Bears. 2nd and 13. And Cutler can't get away from a trio of Packers led by Cullen Jenkins.
Cullen Jenkins has become the Agunlier of the Green Bay Packers. He goes right between the double team. 2 big guys over there, Orlando Pace and Frank Omiel. And I tell you, the offensive line play tonight has been lame. And Jay Cutler got folded in funny directions there.
And right now, Frank Omiyale, the left guard, is also down. So they work on his leg. Omiyale is the injured Bear. Injury timeout. On defense, Urlacher is out. Tino Isamoa out. Rest of the game. And the cornerback McBride is out. All on defense. Right now, after Omiyale goes out and Josh Beekman takes over at left guard, it's 3rd and 22. And really right now they're thinking about a field goal, and it's only 1 more yard here as Al Harris wraps up Forte. So they went from a 1st and 10 at the 18 to a 3rd and 22 at the 30. Tried to get Robbie Gould a little closer. And for Robbie Gould right now, still a field goal of about 47 yards.
And he did not even attempt a field goal of over 50 yards last season. So this is right at the edge of his range. Very accurate, but not a long distance kicker.
To give Chicago the lead. And Robbie Gould right down the middle. Good as gold. With 3:51 to play in the 3rd quarter, the Chicago Bears trailing 10-2 at the half. Now take the lead by 2.
Well, the headline writers are going to have to fill with some awfully small print tomorrow. Adewale Ogunleye has to be the star of the game so far. He is just torn up Alan Barber on the outside. Consistent pressure, a lot of hits on Aaron Rodgers. And really, it has been a mismatch on that side of the ball, even when they're chipping with a back. Really, we have seen a definite step up in this defensive line play. Early on, they established that they could get pressure with just 4 guys. And when you can do that, you leave a lot of guys back there in coverage, which makes it tough on the quarterback, which is what we've seen so far. You want teams to blitz you if you're an offense so you can take advantage of some man coverage and hit some big plays. Bears have played well, though, here to start this second half. Alan Barber has not had a good game.
Colts kickoff. Jordy Nelson from the 4-yard line. They force him to the outside. Flag is on the field. Flag on the play. Normally against the returning team. Normally a block in the back. Or a hold. Or a conference.
There is no foul on the play. The action for holding was not a hold. First down.
That'd be a good reason to pick it up.
I guess.
Yeah. If it's not a hold, then.
Right. So he takes it to the 29. There's Clark walking around, but Urlacher, they tell us, is done for the night with a wrist injury. Came out and played in the first series of the second half, and that's it. Roach and Hillenmeyer are the linebackers now, replacing Urlacher and Tino Isamoa. Here's Grant, and Grant shaves it off the right side. And Grant with a first down up to the 44-yard line. Went in over left tackle and then cut it back for a nice gain, a gain of 14.
One of the rare times in this game that the Bears are going to lose contain on the backside. Good block driving all the way down on Donald Lee. Ogunleye tries to get the inside gap, but they expose themselves on the outside. Nobody fills in. And you just have to wonder now, without Brian Urlacher in there, can the Packers get their running game going? I would sure take a shot at it.
Grant averaging 4 yards a carry, 12 carries, 48 yards. And he gets to the 50 here. Tackled by Tommy Harris. That's a gain of 6, 2nd and 4.
The Bears know they're a little bit vulnerable right now. They are loaded up with at least 8 guys in the box now as they're trying to stop the run. They know exactly what the Packers are going to do, but check out all these guys in there because they're thinking we're a little vulnerable without our team captain in there, and the Packers are taking it to them.
2 of their 3 starting linebackers, 2nd down and 3. Grant. And Grant with some real tough running is finally tackled by Daniel Manning, but not until he picks up a 1st down.
That's what they've been looking for out of Ryan Grant. That sort of finishing of the runs. He's not a speedster. He's not a guy that's going to just outrun you, Adrian Peterson kind of guy. That's not his game. But he's all heart. He was a 6th-round draft pick and a steal because they made a trade with the New York Giants to get him, and he has been paying big dividends since.
At the 46, under 2 minutes to play in the 3rd. This is Wynn. The back up to Grant tonight to the 41-yard line.
Well, that was a great move that time by the fullback, John Kuhn, to jump inside. You know, the tailback is really taught, just follow the fullback. That time Kuhn saw the hole and his back followed him. Watch him start to the outside, number 30, see the hole, jump inside. Wynn follows him right through it and made a great run. Good play by Kuhn.
2nd and 5. And this time it's Wynn following Kuhn again, but Hillenmeyer is there with some help as well as we tick down to the final minute of the 3rd quarter. It'll be 3rd down and 6.
There's a good reason why you go to the run game when your quarterbacks have headaches. They have been hit a lot so far in this ball game. And it is funny, you talk about it, but if you hit the quarterback, it throws them off. And as consistent as Aaron Rodgers has been this season, tonight he's been off the mark, and I think the hits have a lot to do with it.
3rd and 7 out of the shotgun, 43-yard line. And coming across the line is Brown, and he's going to say he was induced by Chad Clifton.
False start. Offense number 76. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Tis true.
It is true. Chad Clifton unbelievably had both knees operated on, both shoulders last year, and I asked him which was worse, and he said my thumbs. He just had one of those years. He just could not stay healthy at all, but feeling pretty good now until we saw Alex Brown anyway.
You know, John Madden used to say, when you have multiple injuries, you can only feel one. 3rd and 12 from the 48. And that pass underneath is caught by Donald Lee, and that will take us to the 4th quarter. And the Packers will be punting when we start the 4th quarter. After 3, Chicago 12, Green Bay 10. And Sunday Night Football from Wisconsin continues after these messages. Green Bay, Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Andrea Kramer. Sunday Night Football. Opening weekend, there's Devin Hester. In his first 2 years in the league, returned 11 kickoffs and punts combined, plus 1 missed field goal for touchdowns. Capanos's kick. And can it be saved from going into the end zone? They drop the beanbag there. It's Jared Bush who gets down there and is able to save it from going into the end zone. And you've got a flag down. So Capanos, for the moment, looked like it was going to be a beauty, but Ron Winter says...
Prior to the kick, holding, number 52 of the kicking team. A 10-yard penalty. Repeat 4th down.
So that's Jamar Williams. That's a big, big call.
Oh, so instead of having the ball on about the 4 or 5 yard line after the tap back, remember this play is like playing basketball. If your foot is not on the line, you can knock it back pretty close, whether or not his foot was on the line or not. But that ball would have been marked down, if not, on about the 5, wherever they end up touching it down from there. Now instead, get another shot.
I thought it would have held up. I thought he was definitely not on the goal line, but now Kapanos will have to do it again.
And your punt team has already run down the field once chasing Devin Hester. This could be dangerous.
Here they go again. And Hester's going to let it go, but this is a very bad kick, and it takes a Chicago bounce. And then a little pushing and shoving. Get the ball to the 27-yard line. So that was a very costly penalty. The difference between getting it at the 4 or 5-yard line. Instead, it's at the 27-yard line. Cutler settling down here in that second half. The first half, a half to forget. Meanwhile, 5 out of 6 for 99, and that touchdown pass to Hester here in the second half.
And remember, these are division opponents, so they'll play again. But the home team has much more pressure to hold serve in this game, and the Green Bay Packers, the Bears could come in here and steal a win on the Packers turf would be huge.
Omayal and Clark are both back in the game, so here's Forte up to the 27. The Bears with those defensive injuries, Urlacher and Tino Samoa and McBride, but Omayal and Clark are back in the game. And of course, they've got Pittsburgh coming into Soldier Field next Sunday.
Check out Colin Jenkins one more time, just splitting the gaps and getting in the backfield. This is a gap control type of 34 defense. This isn't so much like the New England Patriots where those defensive linemen are trying to hold the guy up and play the run. In this one, they're trying to penetrate and get in the backfield. And that's probably the most obvious thing I've said all night.
2nd and 11. Cutler feeling the pressure, stepping up, slides to a stop at the 31-yard line.
But now when he's scrambling, it almost looks like he's scrambling with a purpose, doesn't it? In the first half, it was much more of a scramble backwards, a scramble outside. Now when the opportunity presents itself, he just simply stepped up, took what he had, and instead of a 3rd and very long, in a manageable situation. Greg Olsen has been seeing a lot of coverage all night. That time A.J. Hawk got him.
3rd and 6. Cutler fires and open. Up at the 43-yard line is Earl Bennett. Atari Bigby, the safety. A flag is down. Back at the 30, back at the line of scrimmage at the 31-yard line.
Whatever it was a great play by Jay Cutler. He is hanging tough in that pocket right now.
Offside. Offense number 80. Lined up in a neutral zone. A 5-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
So Bennett, who makes the catch, had lined up across the line of scrimmage.
Oh, you have to be kidding me. Offsides, because as a wide receiver, all you have to do is wave at the officials and say, I'm on the line.
There's the red line.
No question about it. You can see he's all the way over that red line.
And they caught him, and that cost him a 1st down, and it makes it 3rd down and 11. Crowd rises as one. Cutler feels the pressure again, and that time the pass is incomplete. And that was Bennett, and he was open, and he had to reach behind him and couldn't make the play. So 4th down, and in comes the punt team.
Well, we've seen Jay several times in this one. Look back across the field, scramble right. He saw his favorite guy back across the field. He just couldn't get himself stopped. You could see his feet slip a little bit. But that was a big stop for this Packers defense. And now their offense really needs to wake up and get something going.
Jordy Nelson to run it back. Maynard to boot it. Patrick Mannelly, 12th year in the league, to snap it. And they snap it to the up back. And wow, what a call. Garrett Wolf is stopped at the 32-yard line. I mean, did I really see that? On a 4th and 11 in a 2-point game.
I am dumbfounded.
I am really dumbfounded.
I mean, there's not even really a lane right there. There are defenders standing everywhere. And let's give some credit where credit is due. On the outside, Brett Swain, who beat out Ruvell Martin for a spot on this team. The receiver comes back in and makes that tackle. I think when they saw Swain on the end of the line of scrimmage, They thought they had a play, but Swain came back off the line of scrimmage, and your defense has played so brilliantly.
And Lovey's thrown the challenge flag.
Maybe on his own call.
That's the line of the night.
Chicago was challenged, but Green Bay had too many men on the field at the snap.
Well, I saw Clay Matthews trying to get off the field. The question is, did he?
Field position. I mean, they're basically in field goal range right now.
Right. All things considered, very bizarre. They're going to lose the challenge, and it's going to be a first down for Green Bay.
After review, Green Bay had 11 players on the field at the snap. Therefore, Chicago is charged with the team timeout, their second. It is also their second and final challenge. The ball belongs to Green Bay. First down on the 30-yard line.
Lovey has a little explaining to do after this one. I really think it was some sort of an automatic call. I think it was something they saw the extra guy running off the field. They're going to quick snap it a lot the same way that maybe Peyton Manning would do when they try to make substitutions. But there was no upside to it. There was no reason to do it there.
Well, Manley's the guy, and he's been, as I said before, for 12 years. He keeps the job because he's one of the best long snappers. He might have just outthought himself. Ball at the 30-yard line, first down. And then the defense has to stick him on the field in the first play. That's Mark Anderson. Broke into the league when he was a rookie as a sackmeister. And he stops the run right here. Back of the line of scrimmage. Loss of 3, second down and 13.
Second and 13 from the 33.
I'm still trying to figure that one out, but it's all I can come up with, Al. I really, in my heart, I believe it was an automatic. I just think they saw the 12th guy, and a player on the field just made a mistake, didn't understand the situation, not on the coaches. It was on an individual player making a mistake.
I think you have to be right here. It's so unlike a coach to call a play like that in that situation. Here's Donald Driver. And he steps out of bounds at the 23-yard line. And the irony is, if that costs him the game eventually, it's the Bears' special teams, which have been among the best, if not the best, in the league.
And it's really how they've beaten the Packers when they've won their share of the games. You know, and of course, we've all had the conversation. Is it good that Devin Hester's returning punts and playing receiver, and his production's gone down so many times? Special teams end up deciding games.
3rd and 3 at the 23. Flag is thrown. And Rodgers, for the moment, will have picked up the first down, but the flag came in from the umpire. And you know what that normally means.
Holding. Offense number 71. 10-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
Very good, class. Josh Sitton.
Josh Sitton, here we go. Here's the combination. They're going to get the hold, and that would have been a first down. There's the arm wrap. They kind of let him go. They didn't let him go soon enough. Watch Rodgers finish this play, though. What a great effort to go in there and try and pick up that first down. But now you're back in a tough spot again. You need a few yards to help your field goal kicker. Looked like automatic before that holding call.
Crosby's already made one from 52. If they don't get a yard here, they'll have about a 51-yarder. Rodgers on third down, throws, and that's caught at the 26. It won't be a first down, but it moves them a lot closer. Greg Jennings makes the catch. Nathan Vasher makes the stop, and that'll make it fourth down.
Great play that time by Nathan Vasher. He's in the open field with one of the most electric receivers in the game. He has to make this tackle. He doesn't make this tackle, it's first down. Drive alive, spins him around. Brilliant, brilliant play by Nathan Vasher.
Mason Crosby now. It'll be 39-yard attempt. to give them the lead. Good. 10-10 remaining in the fourth, and the Packers now are up by 1. 13-12. Chicago getting the ball here with 10-10 to play in the fourth. Daniel Manning to run it back. Manning, who created a safety early on, brings it back out to the 29-yard line. Go back to the fake here, Chris.
All right, watch Manley, the center now. He's going to turn around and point at Wolf. See this? He's going to point, then he's going to direct snap it to him. Wolf never sees it, but it was clearly Manley's decision. He made up his mind that was the right play, did it on his own, and it's not very often that you're talking about a long snapper winning or losing a game, but right now it's on him.
Pointing to himself. And he's a guy, he sees Matthews running off the field, sprinting off the field. And at that point, he's thinking, I can get it, I can snap it, and they'll have too many men on the field. 1st and 10, the ball is at the 28. And on a slant, that's Bennett making the catch, and it's good for 11 yards. And a first down as Bennett gets into a wrestling match with Al Harris.
Well, for the first time, I understand why they timed Clay Matthews in the 40-yard dash.
Oh, boy, you're right.
Had to get off. He's a half a step slower. That one goes the other way.
The third generation Clay Matthews. His grandfather played in the NFL. His father, Clay Matthews Sr. His uncle, Bruce Matthews, the great Oiler and Titan guard. Cutler going into traffic, and 4 Packers are there. Nick Collins almost had another pick. And down on the ground, as the pass was intended for Bennett, is Atari Bigby. So Cutler throwing into 4 green shirts.
I mean, Al, you just can't do this. I mean, Jay Cutler's known as a gunslinger, but Brett Favre would have been proud of this one. I mean, it looked like a convention around Earl Bennett on that one. The other part of that play that maybe you didn't see, Nick Collins, who's been struggling, I think, with cramps. He's been limping around with that kind of a look. Got up and was limping again, and Atari Bigby is hurt on the play. So both safeties come out of it gippy.
And they still work on Bigby now. Bigby's going to get up, hop it off. Aaron Rouse will come in to spell him.
Aaron Rouse, a little bigger guy, a little more physical player down in the box, but in this situation now, Bigby is the smaller, quicker kind of guy, and Bigby's been struggling with an ankle injury. Just wonder if that might be what he got there.
2nd and 10. Forte. Nowhere. Tell you what, that Brandon Childers had a pretty good night playing inside linebacker, 54 guy you don't hear a lot about. We used to talk about, Barnett and the guys up front, and Aaron Campbell, obviously, and the rookie Clay Matthews getting a lot of acclaim. And Brandon Childers just doing his job tonight, 6th year out of UCLA.
Yeah, that really was Clay Matthews setting that edge there. Good linebacker play tonight by the Green Bay Packers.
3rd and 9, 8:45 left in the fourth. Cutler fires, tip, flag, incomplete. Tipped by Woodson, intended for Bennett, and a flag in the secondary.
Oh boy, and this could be a big one. They just signaled illegal contact, which would mean a first down.
Illegal contact. Defense number 31. 5-yard penalty and a first down.
Al Harris, so from a 3rd and 9 to a first down. I think he might have had the wrong number. I don't think Harris was involved in this play. Take a look again.
Top of your screen. Boy.
Well,
that was.
What do you have on this side here?
No illegal contact. It had to be on Al Harris. And if that was illegal contact, it was at 5.5 yards.
Well, you saw why Harris was so angry. I said, I don't know what he was talking about at 31. As Hester steps out of a tackle, and Devin Hester takes it all the way to the 31-yard line. Broke away from Woodson and picks up a first down on the gain of 24.
Well, a few moments ago, we saw a nice tackle on the outside by Nathan Vasher. This time, Charles Woodson, who is really one of the better tackling corners in the game, takes a bad angle, and Devin Hester, who has really had a great game tonight. I can't emphasize enough how badly the Bears need a wide receiver to step up, but this is the play that made it. And boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Ticky-tack. 1st and 10 at the 31, and Cutler will take a timeout. And that could be relevant. Remember, they already lost the timeout on the challenge, so only one remaining with 8 minutes to go. Special Parks and Recreation, the return to the office, and the new college comedy Community. That's Thursday night on NBC. That timeout taken by Chicago was their last. They had taken one earlier. They lose one on the challenge, and now here, so they'll go the rest of the way without a timeout. First and 10 from the 31-yard line. Forte. Go back and take a look at the illegal contact, the phantom illegal contact on Al Harris.
Yeah, look right down the line, and you're going to see Devin Hester is really off the line of scrimmage here. And he should be on the line of scrimmage. You've got a tackle only over here, so he had to be on the ball. But you've got to look here now. I think the official may have seen him a yard behind the line of scrimmage, and when he made contact where that red line is, thought it was at 6 yards when it was at 5. But regardless, that should never be called.
And it should have been an illegal formation.
Yeah, if anything, it should have been a foul on the Bears.
2nd down and 10 from the 31-yard line. They split Forte to the left. Cutler throws over the middle, and open is Olsen, so he finally gets the ball into Olsen, who takes it down to the 23-yard line. So very much in field goal range now as we tick down to 7 minutes to go.
It's the first time that really I've seen the Bears take advantage of the blitz. That time they came with a zone blitz to the right, and they found the hot read because the safety was playing so far off. So at least Cutler now is getting his mind going. He's starting to make smart plays on the field.
And he finally makes his first connection with Olsen. Good for 8, 3rd and 2. Fake to Forte, then throw it out to McKee, the fullback. And McKee gets tackled by Harris at the 15-yard line. First down, Chicago.
Gutsy call by Ron Turner here, and a good one. You could see the linebacker stepping up on the outside. Papinga trying to anchor down and just slips on the play. He was just going to try and blow up the run there, and instead they escape to the outside. Love the play call.
Six minutes left. First down at the 15. Forte behind McKee. And Jolly takes him down at the 12-yard line. Gain of 3. 2nd and 7 for the Bears.
You know, the Bears keep trying to pull out here and make plays. But as they do it, the penetration is forcing these pulling linemen deeper than they want to go. They're getting back in the backfield, and the Packers are just beating them to the point, which is why they haven't had success to the outside.
Second and 7. Rasheed Davis in the game. Split left. Forte through the middle. And Forte will take it to the 5-yard line. Close to and should be a first down. Tackled by Brady Papinga.
Now, sometimes just power football. You're going to get the double team here going right on the nose, Ryan Pickett. And when you get movement on the nose, Power O looks beautiful. That time they blow him out of the hole and make a nice run.
Didn't give him the spot I thought he deserved. They're going to put it just outside the 5, and that's going to make it 3rd down and inches. Forte gets banged back just as he crosses the line of scrimmage. So when they'll put it down, we'll see where the forward progress is. And Ron Winter already comes in and says first down.
And we told you it's plenty hot out there. We're starting to see more and more players cramp up. Early in the season, you see it a lot because guys aren't used to playing 4 quarters. These coaches are afraid to play them a full preseason game. And for Green Bay, this is probably one of the hottest nights they've had all year.
And the defense on the field for 10 plays. This drive started at the Chicago 28-yard line. First and goal. Forte again. Gets about half the distance, just inside the 3-yard line. And down to 3.5 minutes to play in regulation.
Oh, you're talking about some kind of important 3 yards on a beautiful green field out here, and Patrick Mannelly doesn't even want to look anymore. This is when it's just men against men for small pieces of turf.
Second and goal. Forte. And he will get stacked up at the 3-yard line by Aaron Rouse. And the Packers are going to take a timeout. They'll stop the clock with 3 minutes, and they didn't have to take it because Jolly is down. Jolly needs some attention. Down and goal. Jolly was hurt. Here's the pulse of the game. Devin Hester with a 36-yard touchdown reception. Urlacher wrist injury at the end of the first half. The Packer defense terrific in the first half. The Bear defense with 4 sacks tonight. The officials are now discussing. I mentioned that Green Bay had taken a timeout, but Jolly was hurt as they took the timeout. And the question now is, do they charge Green Bay with a timeout, or was it an injury timeout?
McCarthy was out there with the officials huddled all around. The scoreboard still says 3 timeouts for the Packers.
And what it is, that turned out to be an injury timeout, which means that the clock gets wound. You see it going down right now. So Jolly gets off the field, not charged with a timeout, but the clock winds down. Third down and goal from the 3-yard line. A roll by Cutler and a pass that's out of the end zone. Olsen was covered well on the play, and so now they will have to settle for a field goal to try to put them up by 2 instead of getting into the end zone where they would have been up by 5 and no doubt would have gone for the 2-point conversion to make it 7.
Oh, for Robbie Gould, this is right up his alley here. Sometimes when you see that never statistic, he's never missed.
Right. Yeah. It's called the kibosh.
Yeah.
21-yard attempt. Maynard puts it down, and Gould's kick is true. And the Chicago Bears have the lead again, 15-13. And like the opener on Thursday night, this one will go right down to the wire. And just to make it clear on that timeout, Green Bay had taken the timeout. What the officials will do, though, if they see an injury, they won't charge you with the timeout. They didn't there. That's why the clock remained at 3 minutes. Jolly came off the field, but what they do is they set the play clock at 25 and wind it down from that spot.
Well, and for Mike McCarthy, he's seen this act before. They lost a lot of their games last year when they were close, when they were tied, when they had to lead in the fourth quarter and simply could not hold it. And I'm sure that illegal contact call is going to be at the forefront of his mind should they lose this game, because really they should have been off the field at that point.
One of the reasons that there was so much optimism in Green Bay coming off a 6-10 season and people talking about Green Bay maybe getting to the Super Bowl was the fact they were in all of those games last year and had some bad breaks and had some injuries. And so this will be a heck of a way to start the season with another close loss.
You know, sometimes you have to break the momentum. You have to gain the confidence. And I can't emphasize enough how important this game is for these two teams. If the Chicago Bears come in here and steal one, it is really significant.
Especially with Pittsburgh on the docket next. Sunday at Soldier Field. A yard into the end zone. This is Jordy Nelson. And Nelson will bring it back out to the 28-yard line with 2 minutes and 28 seconds remaining in the fourth.
Well, for Aaron Rodgers, all the comparisons to Brett Favre, he'll never get away from him. He admitted that. But you have to remember that Aaron Rodgers has already had as many losing seasons as Brett Favre had in his career here in Green Bay. You have to win games. Quarterbacks, it's not about numbers, it's not about statistics, it's about winning games, and now it is on him to win this one.
They start for the 28. Keep it on the ground. Grant. Gain of 6 for Ryan Grant. 2nd down and 4.
I do like the call there. It was one that we're going to play this one all the way out, all our timeouts.
And that pass that's caught, that'll be a 1st down. And that is Greg Jennings. And it really didn't matter if he got out or stayed in because the clock's going to stop at the 2-minute warning. So 2 minutes to play. 1st down for the Green Bay Packers. Chicago 15, Green Bay 13. Brought to you by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By the Samsung LED TV, the official HD TV of the NFL. By GE Imagination at Work, and by McDonald's. Wendy's post-game show to follow. Andrea will have an interview. Tony Dungy, Rodney Harrison in the studio in New York. Bob Costas here with us, and we'll wrap it up from Green Bay. It is 1st down at the 41-yard line for the Packers. They have all 3 timeouts.
Well, I know who I'm going after here. It's Hunter Hillenmeyer, the middle linebacker who replaced Brian Urlacher, who's such a key part of their pass defense down the middle. I'm playing these balls right down the middle against Hillenmeyer.
Hillenmeyer backs into coverage. 4-man rush, and the pass is dropped. That's Nelson on the outside who can't hang on. 2nd down and 10.
Well, now it's time for star players to make plays. Not a bad throw. Good decision that time by Aaron Rodgers. But I still think you've got a guy in an unusual position. You look around this defense and you say, where might they be vulnerable? And it has to be right up the gut with a guy that's not typically in the game in this situation.
Rush 4 again. Rodgers stepping away. He's going to run. He's going to slide to a halt at the 50-yard line. Looks around for a flag. Doesn't get it. Manning is there along with Briggs. And he's going to be a yard shy of the 1st down. Crowd wanted a penalty.
Well, a couple of things. Alan Barber at least doing a better job this half. After 3 sacks in the 1st half, only 1 in the 2nd half. But Aaron Rodgers should have not tried to slide there. That was too big a moment in the game. You give yourself up, you lock up that 1st down. That was not a situation for a slide.
The clock ticking down, and all of a sudden, I mean, you get that, you're down to 1 minute and 18, so they wasted a lot of time. With the clock running down, they had all 3 timeouts. McCarthy shakes his head, and a 3rd and 1 upcoming.
You know, we saw John Elway in the Super Bowl with that dive and spin and flip to make sure he got the 1st down. Situational football. You always want to know what the situation is. Quarterbacks, you want to protect yourself, but it's not nearly as important as winning this game. This should have been a head-first dive, and he would have had the 1st down. Remember, it's where you start your slide, not where you end up. So they had to mark that ball back. Actually gave him a pretty good mark there. They almost gave him the full extent of the slide. Right. It may be a decent thing to challenge. I think they could take that ball back a couple of yards even from where they ended up marking that one.
Well, there's no challenge. Only upstairs can they look at the play. They wouldn't have had a challenge anyway.
That's true. Upstairs could have taken a look at that one.
3rd down and 1 from the 50. Fake to Graham. Rodgers going deep. He's got a man open. It's Jennings. Touchdown Packers. How's that for a call on 3rd and 1? Lambeau Field erupting on a 3rd and 1. The fake, the deep throw, the touchdown, and they'll go for 2 to make it a 6-point game. When Chicago gets it back, they do not have a timeout. And that pass is caught for the conversion. He goes back to Jennings. That's of minimal importance because it's still, whether it was 5 or 6, is barely relevant at this point. If they get the touchdown, they're sure to get the extra point. But let's go back and take a look at the touchdown.
3rd and 1. You're going to bring your safety down to try and help against the run. You go with a great play action fake. Single high, and I promise you, it was never in the game plan to have Nathan Vasher, who has struggled at the corner, against one of the great receivers in the game, Greg Jennings. They would have never set this up, but for the fact that it was 3rd and 1. Give Joe Philbin a lot of credit. One of the gutsier calls you'll see, and he hit the jackpot.
Boy, that is the jackpot, isn't it?
And for Aaron Rodgers, there you go. The games that he couldn't win at the end of last year, he has a chance now.
3rd and 1. Here was the 2-point conversion. This was close. Jennings makes the catch. Yep.
Good play. Remember, all you have to do is break the front of that line, not the back of the line, any part of the white line, and it's a touchdown.
So now it's Hester back to return the kickoff. Danielle Manning normally does the kickoff returns, and he's really good. And now Ron Winter is going to stop play here.
Remember Mike McCarthy yesterday saying he thought Danielle Manning was the best in the NFL returning kickoffs.
So there's a booth review that's upcoming.
Well, they can only be looking at the 2-point conversion at this point, right?
You can't go back and look at the play before that. No way. Maybe you're looking at, does he have possession? He's across the line. That's
no doubt,
clear.
But he's going to the ground to make the catch, so he has to maintain control all the way throughout the catch here.
Right.
I can't see anything that would say otherwise, at least from that angle.
No, neither can I.
But until he is all the way on the ground, he has to maintain control.
Ron's going to wait until Winter to tell us.
And you know, Nathan Vasher on that play came up and looked like he wanted to play bump and run coverage against Greg Jennings, one of the faster receivers, one of the great deep threats in the game. And you just can't do that. You can't turn that one into a foot race. See him up, and now he's going to try to run out of it. He's trying to look back at the quarterback, stumbles, falls. Oh, boy. Zach Bowman has been in competition for that job, but because of his hamstring injury, they probably have played Nathan Vasher a little bit more, but Greg Jennings, the play of the night.
Now Chicago with 71 seconds. So we still haven't been told what the review is. We assume it's whether he had possession. I mean, it looks very clear to us that the two-pointer will stand. And when it comes to a basically irrelevant, not that they shouldn't review it, but it's an irrelevant play, because whether it's 5 points or 6 points, as they say, if Chicago, they're going to need a touchdown, and then you assume they're going to make the extra point. Winter tells us.
Review. The ruling on the field stands. The 2-point conversion here.
No kidding.
I think I remember one other thing, too, that when they're talking about whether they would review that 3rd and 1 spot, I think the only time they go to a booth review in that situation is if, in fact, it is a first down or not where the mark actually may be if it's not a big distance. I think that's the rule.
Meanwhile, Hester was back there, and then after the booth review, they put Manning back there. Danielle Manning to run the kickback.
Don't blame.
And it's a bouncing ball. Juggled at the 19-yard line. And this is Bennett. He's going to bring the ball back to the 38-yard line.
Well, here you go.
Yeah, right.
Mr. Franchise.
You want to write some headlines?
There you go. Well, he's done it before. And he has to be thinking, you're kidding me, right? We put together a drive, we go down, we eat up most of the clock. All we have to do is keep them out of field goal range, and they score a touchdown instead. So now you have to go the distance. And how significant is it, all those wasted timeouts at this point?
They come back to bite you. 1st and 10, 38-yard line. So the Bears have to go 62 yards in 66 seconds. Knox in the game, wide left. Hester wide right. Cutler has it intercepted by Al Harris. Only Cutler to beat, and Cutler saves the touchdown. But Harris has just saved the game.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. The inexperience at the wide receiver position just killed Jay Cutler again. Johnny Knox, the rookie who's made some big plays on the top of your screen, is going to stop on this one, and Al Harris doesn't. The old vet won a playoff game one time against Seattle with an interception in return for a touchdown in overtime. Comes up huge again.
First time in Cutler's professional career, he's had 4 interceptions in a game. And now Green Bay can just run it out. One more kneel down, and they're going to have a victory, and it's a big one. It always is against a rival. They've got Cincinnati coming in here next week, heavily favored. And the Bears at 0-1 all of a sudden go into Soldier Field to take on the Super Bowl champions.
It's a cool game, though, isn't it?
Very.
Jay Cutler would have been the hero. He took him on the game-winning drive down the field. Instead, his defense gives up a big play. He has to come back out. And now all anybody will remember is that interception and the other 3.
That gave Jennings a 100-yard night, that 50-yard reception. The kneel down will end it. And this rivalry, which started back in 1921, they've just written another chapter as the Green Bay Packers beat the Chicago Bears 21-15. And a ton of stuff. Of course, the mull over, the 4 interceptions, the Manley snap on the fake field goal. Vasher unable to cover Jennings. And the Packers with the victory. Wendy's post-game report. Bob will be along in a moment.
With the win, 21-15 is your final. Welcome to another season of U.S. Cellular Bears post-game live. I am Pat Boyle. Mike's side with 3 former Bears, Mr. GQ, Jerry Azuma, our quarterback, Jim Miller, and our lead blocker, Dan Jiggets. Cutler, 4 picks in his Bears debut. Patrick Manley with the ill-advised fake punt on 4th and 11 at your own 28. Nate Vasher slips on Jennings. A lot of blame to go around. This was an ugly mess.
It was indeed. And, you know, here's the thing. I don't know if you ever felt comfortable, even after the Bears got the lead. You still weren't very, very comfortable with the whole situation because really when you look at it, Green Bay had beaten themselves a few more times than the Bears had. The one good thing that came out of this thing tonight, though, was was the Bears defense and that pass rush.
What do I say? Rex Grossman was actually wretched today. oh, my bad. I meant Jay Cutler. I mean, what can you say? 4 interceptions. I agree with Jiggs. The defense was phenomenal. Probably the best offseason acquisition was defensive line coach Rod Marinelli. That came forward today. I think we can come away from the game with a positive thought on the defense, but obviously offense has to pick it up, and Jay has to make better decisions.
Right. Who do you place the blame on in this one?
Let's talk about some positive stuff, can we?
Okay. Is this Packer post game live?
Man, I mean, whenever you throw so many interceptions like that, man, it's hard, you know, and you're just basically putting your team in a bad situation, in a bad.
Well, you know what? When you look at the first half, what he was doing was he was hot-footing in the backfield, and sometimes there was really no need for it. Granted, the offensive line wasn't giving him the kind of protection they gave him in the second half, but sometimes you see him move around and just roll out just for the heck of it, and then try to throw over the other side of the field or whatever. Just didn't make any sense, Jay. I mean, you got a quarterback that's got a good arm. Don't fall too much in love with your arm and try to power something through quadruple
What about
coverage.
the fundamentals, though? What about the fundamentals?
Well, again, Rex Grossman was throwing off his back foot, fading back when he's throwing, and Jay knows he's got a very strong arm, which he does. But like Jig says, you got to stand strong in the pocket. You got to find the sweet spot to shuffle up, help your offensive lineman out rather than just bailing out of the pocket. Maybe because the Bears do want to throw down the field more, maybe start shortening it up a little bit, get him some confidence, and then start launching him down the field, which is what he's good at.
How about this? Maybe try running the football a little bit in the first.
Like they did in the second half. It worked out well.
It's just an idea. I'll toss it out
It takes the pressure off of Jay
for your
Cutler.
consideration.
They do have a good running back before
in defense of the Bears offense, you got to admit they had to sort it out a little bit. I mean, they were jumping in 4-3, 3-4 fronts, and it wasn't until really the second half where they started to really move the football on the ground and some nice throws by Jay Cutler. But hard to defend. You turn over the ball 4 times, you're not going to win.
Where was Olsen at?
Didn't catch a pass till under 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. That was supposedly going to be his go-to guy. Earl Bennett turned out to be his go-to guy. But
hey, look, if you're going to see all of that blitzing up front, they're going to bring both the mics. They call it M&M blitz when you bring both those inside linebackers. Whatever you do up front, just block to an area. And that's what you're doing a lot of times against a 30 front anyways. You're blocking to an area, and you're cooperative blocking on many attempts. So just do that. Take those guys all off the line of scrimmage.
As always, we want to hear from you. Send us your comments, and we assume that some of them aren't going to be that great right about now. They'll appear at the bottom of our
Make
sports
them G-rated.
Yes, yeah. Keep them HBO rated, maybe, for us. It is late. Log on to csnchicago.com. Click on the Bears PGL icon at the top of the page, and some of those comments will appear on our sports ticket. Let's get this thing going with our opening kickoff, and as always, we begin with Dan Jiggets on that. Jigs?
Well, my opening comment is simply this: don't look for ways to beat yourself, and that's basically what happened to the Bears tonight. They had plenty of opportunities, ample opportunities, to go ahead and put the game away and win the football game. You look back in that first half, even with all of those picks that Jay was throwing, they were, a couple of points out of the ball game. So they had an ample opportunity to win it, but they found ways to beat themselves, and most of it on offense.
Yeah, I think for me, obviously the good play and bad play of Jay Cutler was instrumental in this loss, but no reason to panic. They'll go back to work. I believe the offense will figure it out, but it is, again, nice to see the Bears defense is back. That was a top 5 offense in the NFL last year, and pretty much other than that last bomb to Greg Jennings, they pretty much shut him down.
That's right. Thank goodness for the defense. They basically came away with 4 sacks, which is really good. They came away with the big turnover in the end zone with the safety with Manning. So, they're playing the way that they should be playing.
They came away with sacks and a lot of pressure, too.
A lot of pressure.
And I know the guys on the broadcast were constantly mentioning this. That quarterback continues to get hit like that. It's not a whole lot of fun, is it, Jim?
I'll tell you what, when you cry like Aaron Rodgers when you get hit, there's no more red jerseys in the regular season, bro.
Jay Cutler's at the podium at Lambeau Field after his 4-interception performance in his Bears regular season debut.
Yeah, it was a rough first half. 3 turnovers put the defense in a hole. They gave us a chance to kind of bounce back, but, ultimately that got us in the end.
Did you feel like you started to sync up with your receivers in the second half there for a while?
Yeah, we started to. It's just hard to overcome 3 turnovers. The guys were You know, it's a tough hole, and we can't do that. We can't put the defense in that position. We know that. It's hard to win football games with, with 3 turnovers in the first half.
Still, you guys it looked like had a chance to win it there. You get down to 5, you can't get it in. Was ultimately the red zone failures do you in here too?
A lot of failures. We just got to go back and look at it. I think we're still going to be a good football team. There's no need to panic. It's game 1. There's 15 more. There's a lot of football left. There's a lot of football players in that locker room. We've shown them before. We just need to come back together, watch the film, and just get ready for Pittsburgh. One loss isn't the end of the season.
Were you just trying to do too much in the first half?
I don't know. We got to go back and look at it. There were some times we were rolling out and, just some miscommunications. But, I can't put those guys in that position.
What happened on the first half pass where you threw it right into the lineman? Did you not see him there?
Yeah, I didn't see him.
Your debut in Chicago, how personally frustrated?
It's tough, I think, probably the city of Chicago is disappointed. I'm disappointed. We've got 90 people in that locker room that are disappointed, coaches and players. So, it's tough, but like I said, we got 15 more to play. There's a lot of football left. There's a lot of football left in this season. And, this team, I think, ultimately at the end is going to overcome this one, and we're going to bounce back, and we're going to be fine.
Were you surprised they didn't go to Forte as much in the first half?
It's just kind of how the game's going. Sometimes, we're going to get a big dose of them. Sometimes we're not. We can't second guess what's happening out there.
Jay, was it a combination of the offense getting to know each other and what you want them to do on broken plays, on certain
It's still a learning process. We haven't been together that long. We haven't really been together that long in game situations. So we're still learning, but that's no excuse for what happened out there.
Do you expect Harris to jump that route at the end, especially since you think Frank Freeman's not trying to?
He's a good football player. He's been around a long time.
Anything else?
Next.
Hey, Kurt Jay Cutler after his 4-interception performance in his Bears debut. We got to keep this in perspective, folks. We got people chiming in already. Just like Brad in Plainfield said, this is where quarterbacks come to die. Come on, it's one game. This guy still has all the tools, can make all the throws. He had a horrible game. He made some bad reads. He currently wasn't. He absolutely was not on the same page with his receivers, certainly in that first half where he was 8 of 22 for 127 yards. Got things going better in the second half, 9 of 14. Then he throws the pick to Al Harris at the end. But assess the quarterback's play, Jim.
My opinion, I don't think he was comfortable in the pocket. I don't think he was comfortable with the defensive looks he was seeing. Again, I don't think they were prepared for Green Bay to jump into a 4-3 defense at times. So all the coverages, all the blitz zones, I think it's good prep for the Pittsburgh Steelers because they run the same defense when they come to town for the Chicago Bears. So hopefully they can learn from it. I thought they sorted it out at halftime, and like you said, they started to make progress in moving the football. And then that last play to Johnny Knox. We can say Johnny Knox has to cross Al Harris's face on that slant route. You can't get beat. You can't get out-physicaled. But that's Johnny Knox. He's a fast, speedy guy to get down the field. He's not a physical guy where he can fight for that slant.
By the way, boys, did you see what Jim Miller brought to the set here for the first show?
Trying to keep up with Jerry.
The hubcap Super Bowl ring from New England.
It's awfully shiny.
The Patriots.
My whole deal is nothing. There's nothing new under the sun. When you look at what they were doing defensively, and if anybody should have had a real clue into it, it should be Jay Cutler. Because when you go back, you look back in the AFC, and he faced a defense that was very similar to this one that we just saw tonight in Green Bay. He faced them twice a year with the Chargers. So why wouldn't he be fairly familiar with that?
I think one you're dealing with two different defensive coordinators. For the Chargers, it was Ted Cottrell and then Ron Rivera, who we know well. But Dom Capers, here's how you prepare. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Lovey's addressing the media live at Lambeau Field.
Turnovers, you normally aren't going to win the football game, especially against a good Packers team. Turnover ratio normally tells the story. They got where we turned the ball over, and they capitalized on it. And on the other side of the ball, we weren't able to take the football away. It's tough to win when you do that. Thought we did some good things. I thought after the offense settled down, they were able to move the ball from time to time, but we still weren't able to finish. So, you can't really be fired up about anything that happened when you can't finish drives, which we weren't able to do. defensive side of the ball, thought they played hard, made a lot of plays. Front got pressure out of Wale Agunlie, and the rest of the guys really got after him. And guys stepped up, but again, if you don't get takeaways, it's still hard. But it's the first game. I mean, it's the start. Got a lot of football left to go in the season. We're a good football team. We're a good football team that didn't take care of business tonight. We'll have other opportunities to do that. Injury-wise, as you know, we had a few players that weren't able to finish the football game. Trumaine McBride has a knee sprain. Pisa Tina Samoa has a knee sprain also. Brian Urlacher has a dislocated wrist, and Dez Clark has a back bruise. That's all I know as far as the injuries are concerned. We'll evaluate the players a little bit more. I'm not going to try to look into the future to see what will happen with the guys. I just know that they weren't able to finish the game tonight, and we'll go from there. I'll take your question.
What happened on that play on the 4th and whatever it was, with the punt play that you ended up running? What was called?
Mistake on our part. Thought there were 12 guys on the field. Shouldn't have done it. You know, first game, mistakes.
Did that call come from the sidelines, or did it happen?
Doesn't really matter. Our team didn't execute it the way it should have been done. As far as who, it all goes through me. So we can't have it happen the next time.
But if you assume they have a long on the field, then you just go ahead and kick it as per.
We should have kicked the ball, and we made a mistake on that play. That's about all I need to say on it.
Did you feel like Jay was trying to do too much?
No, he's trying to make plays. Sometimes when you get off to a tough start and you have a couple bad plays, you want to, make amends for it a little bit. We needed to make plays throughout, but we had to protect the ball better than that. There's no way around it. We're not set up that way. Again, no team is set up that way. Jay will play better the next time out.
Anything else for Coach? How do you think your receivers played today?
Hey, it's hard to say. We lost a game, and we had a lot of mistakes, so it's hard to say anybody played well. None of us played well. The Packers played well tonight. We didn't. We'll get a chance to play them again later on.
How did Tillman hold up, do you think?
Thought he did well for the first time out. Conditioning wasn't really a factor tonight. He played hard. He competed the way he normally does.
Coach, how would you grade your own performance from calling signals?
Again, not good enough. No takeaways. Not a good defensive effort if you don't take the football away. You guys concentrate on total yardage an awful lot. You got to take the ball away. We didn't do that. Guys played hard. It's a start for us. We have a long ways to go.
Thanks, everybody. The locker room's open.
Thank you.
Lovie now 7-4 against the Green Bay Packers as he begins his 6th campaign here in Chicago. All right, let's talk about the Patrick Manley situation there. 4th and 11 at your 28-yard line. He must have recognized that they had too many men on the field, and you could see him with the NBC replay signaling to Garrett Wolfe that he was going to send it to him. You could see Wolfe also point to the sideline like he got off. Manley, the experienced veteran, still hikes the ball. That can't happen.
No,
can't have that happen.
If you're going to run a play like that, you have to understand where you are on the field, number one, because even it's going to take a fabulous run by that up back to get the necessary yardage. So I think that's the mistake that, if anything, that Patrick made maybe was, even if that 12th guy is somewhere around the area, you're still in the wrong part of the field to try something like that, because if you give the ball back to them, it's a quick, easy score for them.
It's like anything else for offense and defense, where like Jerry will have zone automatic blitzes where, depending on the offensive personnel or grouping or formation, you're checking in and out of plays. Offense, we do it all the time. Same thing on special teams. There has to be a code word, whether it's, Peter, like in the punt game, everybody screams out. It's the code word to say, hey, it's off, guys. We're going back to the original play. Let's just punt the football.
If I told you guys that we're going to hold Ryan Grant to 61 yards, you probably would have said this is going to be a victory, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Yes. So let's break down Jay as far as what we saw out there. How much of it is on Jay and just a bad football game in his debut? How much of it is on the inexperienced wideouts, not maybe recognizing the right way to go on a route, quitting on a route?
Right.
Assess that.
That's a good point. I think we saw an interception from 3 different you know, how they can happen, so to speak. You saw one to Johnny Knox. It was a scramble drill. Jay Cutler's running out of the pocket. He's thrown across his body, across the field, because Johnny Knox went to scramble rule drills. His drill, because he was the intermediate receiver, he's got to stay intermediate and work sideline to sideline. He goes to the right. Jay throws to the left. Interception. Last one, like I talked about, receivers got across the DB's face, so that's the receiver fault on that one. But ultimately, Jay is the decision maker. He has to know when to put it down and just run with the football. He did that in the second half to not put the team in harm's way until the last drive. So all in all, Jay has to take the blame for these decisions.
Wasn't the Johnny Knox interception right at the end?
Yeah.
Johnny was trying to come back to the ball because the ball was thrown behind him. And it looked like he was trying to slow down to get in position to catch the football, because he's here and the football's over here. And that's when you saw Harris step in and take off with it.
That could have been a situation. That's not what I saw. I thought, Johnny, anytime you run a slant route, you're coming at a 45. If the corner cuts you off, you're cutting in front of him, and you have to front the defensive back. If not, we just call a return route, meaning you know the guy's going to cut you off, so just automatically return out of it. That wasn't the call. It was a slant call. Johnny Knox has to cross his face.
Zoom, this game was almost a complete flip of the script that we thought we were going to see. We thought we were going to see a shootout. We thought the biggest problem was going to be the Bears' defense. Well, certainly the Vasher play at the end, that didn't help. But all in all, this game didn't go to anybody's expectations.
No, it didn't. But you know what? The good part about this game was the defense. You know, if you're looking at the defense, they came away with pressure. You know, and they came away with pressure from those front four. They were basically going man-to-man, and you have to create the pressure going man-to-man. You just basically have to just beat your guy up that's in front of you and get to the quarterback. And they did that. Wale today played like a beast, you know, and that was good to see them get that pressure.
He had a fish on the line tonight.
Yeah, Barber.
Yeah, the Barber of Seville.
Yeah, he did.
The barbershop was open. Barbershop was open.
That little candy stripe thing was spinning tonight.
And the other thing that came out of this, all the injuries. You've got Tino Isamoah with the knee sprain. You've got McBride with the knee sprain. Urlacher, dislocated wrist.
Yeah,
you know, we're not doctors, but that doesn't sound good.
That doesn't sound good, no.
Because they put Hunter in there, and they just started running the ball right down the middle of the field. And you could see there's a difference between Hunter Hillenmeyer and Brian Urlacher.
Pisa was out also.
Well, no question. I mean, Brian's just more stout. He's more stout as a player. He's quicker. He's more agile, and he's a beast in coverage as far as I'm concerned. So now what do? How do you compensate for that? You saw the defensive line do a lot more stunts today. That was very impressive. A lot more secondary blitzes. That was pretty impressive. Obviously, versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, that would probably be in the game plan, so to speak, because they're missing their best defensive player in Troy Polamalu.
Yeah, and the Steelers, you know, along their offensive front, if you got to see them the other night, they have a couple of issues to solve there, too.
Absolutely.
So maybe it's another opportunity for that Bears defensive line to make an impression. I tell you one thing, though, with Adewale Ogunleye tonight, the way that he played, both in the passing game and the run game, he made a couple of key plays in the backfield. He had an excellent football game today.
We got a lot to get to. Kip Lewis will join us live from Lambeau Field with player reaction. Back on Bears Postgame Live after the 21-15 victory by the Packers tonight at Lambeau Field. Taking a look at Matt Forte as he begins his second campaign with the Chicago Bears. In the first half, just 8 touches for 15 yards, under 2 yards per carry. Didn't get much better in the yards per carry department in the second half, but he did have 17 touches, ends up with 40 yards. His longest was 10. You know, we hear from Lovie, get off the bus running. Obviously, with Jay Cutler, that's going to change things a bit. But when you saw Jay struggling the way he was in this ball game, Jigs, it's mind-boggling that they didn't go to a steady dose of Matt Forte before they finally did in that first possession of the third quarter where they went run, run, run. Exactly right. And that's, you know, if you think about what your personality is as a football team, their personality, I don't care who's playing quarterback, the personality of these guys is to run the football. That's what they like to do. So you come out, let them get a chance to get lathered up a little bit, hit some people instead of, you know, absorbing the blow from the defensive lineman to rushing the passer. It really is just a really critical thing. And I think sometimes maybe coaches overlook it because they think, well, you know, I know what I've got in my mind for my game plan. But the most important thing is to give your guys an opportunity to get loosened up a little bit and try to prove something to the guy across the line of scrimmage from them. You know, I know Garrett Wolf is a great guy, did tremendous stuff at Northern Illinois, is a big part of this team on special teams. But if the Bears think that he's going to go out there and spell Matt Forte on a regular basis, they're kidding themselves. I mean, on pass protection, he comes out.
Yeah.
A guy literally just leaped over him like he was a pile-up.
Yeah,
I mean, there's not a
linebacker.
Yeah, let's relate that block to like Jay Cutler on that slip screen. You have to see your target in order to complete the football. I mean, that's first and foremost. Here, Jay gets intercepted in the red zone on a slip screen, which is probably one of the easiest completions you can have from a quarterback. And then, obviously, Garrett Wolf on that block. He's got his head down. Brady Papinga leaps him, or Brandon Chiller, excuse me, leaps him on that play. You have to see your target in order to hit it.
As you take a look at what Ron Turner has to work with right now, what we thought we were hearing from Jay Cutler and Bourbonnais was a good dialogue between Jay and Ron. Things that Jay likes, the two sat down, they analyzed everything he did in Denver, and he kind of reworked his playbook from there. Realizing what he has on the edges, do they have to change some things? Because this didn't look very inventive out there.
I don't think they have to change anything. I actually thought Ron Turner tried to help Jay out as much as possible. Again, you can't get an easier play call than a slip screen.
Right.
Because he was trying to, he had already thrown 3 picks. He's like, hey, I just need to get the guy a completion. That's all Ron Turner was thinking about. And then they throw to take advantage of Jay's talents. Hey, guys, the shot plays I always thought, just go get it. The one to Johnny Knox and the one to Devin Hester. Jay actually missed it, and you knew he wasn't seeing the field tonight. There was a bootleg called in the fourth quarter where he throws it into quadruple coverage to Earl Bennett on an over route. Devin Hester wide open on was not seeing the field at all because that was about the poorest decision you could make, and luckily it didn't end up in an interception.
Well, what causes that? I mean, why does the quarterback all of a sudden go out there and it looks like he just forgets the fundamentals? Because it wasn't like, you know, there wasn't a ton of pressure. I think actually, when you look at it, Aaron Rodgers might have been under more pressure than Jay.
Right. And Aaron had a ton of drops. He was overthrowing Driver early on in this game. I mean, it's not like Aaron Rodgers had
He didn't have a great game either. No, he did not.
I think Jay felt the pressure. He was under a little bit of duress early in the game when you look at Jay Cutler's performance tonight. And I just kind of thought he was lost in terms of what Green Bay was doing coverage-wise, the blitzes that they were bringing. And, again, you have to go back. If I were to face Dom Capers' defense, I would go back the last time he was a defensive coordinator in that exact defense. And you probably either have to go down to Miami or when he was in Pittsburgh just to get his tendencies of what he's going to do in certain situations. I don't think Jay had a good beat on what Dom Capers' tendencies were tonight.
Bob from Portage, Indiana chimes in on CSNChicago.com saying Cutler was trying to do too much in this game. We'll have much more on that coming up. But right now, let's send it out to our Kip Lewis, who's standing by with Johnny Knox live at Lambeau Field. Take it away, Kip.
Thanks, Pat. You know, Johnny, a tough game for you guys. I know you guys played hard. You had to be happy with the way you started this game with a 68-yard catch. First of all, take us through that play.
You know, it's just one of the opportunities you get. You know, Jay made a good throw, so I just had to go out there and just go make a play.
It seems like it seems like you guys weren't on the same page everyone tonight. Would you say that was sort of the case between Jay and the wide receivers in this game?
Not necessarily. You know, first game, it's going to be your ups and downs. You know, this week we're going to come in and fix it and see how it goes next week.
In the second quarter, Jay kind of rolled to the right. You were deep down the field coming across the middle. You wheeled back in his direction. He threw it where you were. Take us through that first interception there.
You know, just miscommunication. You know, me and him, we haven't really got our timing down right. You know, so, you know, come this week, we're going to work on that.
And then the last one, you ran the slant route. What happened on that? It looked like the DB sort of cut you off there, and Jay threw the ball, and you sort of stopped on that route.
You know, out here, so he's a veteran corner, you know. He broke on the ball pretty good. You know, he just made a good play.
How much did their defense confuse you guys tonight? They gave you guys a lot of different looks in this game.
It didn't confuse too much. You know, what we've seen on film from what we've seen from the preseason is what we got today.
Next week, you guys are going to see another 3-4 team, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to do a lot of the same things defensively in their coverages. How much can this game help you guys moving forward to next week?
You know, it's going to be a big help, you know, because what we just seen, like you said today, we're going to see next week.
Is this a good way for you, maybe as a rookie, to get your feet wet in this kind of environment, in this kind of game?
I hope so.
All right, Johnny, appreciate your time. Thanks, man. All right, guys, let's go back to you in the studio. Hopefully we'll get a few more players out here. Obviously, a lot of guys disappointed, do not want to talk after this difficult loss. Pat?
All right, Kip, thank you very much. We'll get back to you in just a bit. Let's take a look now at the receiving core and what happened tonight. As you take a look at what, Johnny Knox was able to do with 2 catches for 82 yards, Devin 4 for 90, and the tutty. Earl Bennett, was his go-to guy. They had that 1 year together at Vanderbilt. Earl made his first catch in the National Football League tonight. So there's a lot, going on here. This is a very young receiving core.
Yeah, it seems to me like if we talk about all of these different things, about what's going on with Jay Cutler, I can't imagine, going out there with 3 guys who basically all of them are just learning positions in the NFL. I don't know, Jim, I'm sure you could make some assumptions if you've been working with guys for a while, but this has got to be brutal.
You mean like Des White, Marty Booker, David Terrell? We kind of made it work. You do. You have to make it work, and Jay Cutler has to be the leader to talk to these guys about what they need to do. You saw that young mistakes tonight by inexperienced guys. Earl Bennett, how about the offsides? And he, negates the 3rd and 6 and goes to 3rd and 11. That's something that just can't happen. So the coach will get in his ear on that. But Jay Cutler has to be the leader in this one and tell those guys exactly what he needs to happen on every route. And that's his responsibility. He's a veteran quarterback in the National Football League.
Yeah, but we also have 2 great tight ends. How can we then basically involve them in the mix as well?
Yeah.
Well, it looked like to me, Greg Olsen had a lot of company tonight. There are a couple of people on that Packer defense look like they were very much in love with him. They were just running around.
I will say this, that Greg Olsen and Jay Cutler have been spending a lot of times away from the game together, hanging out, going out. I'm following them on Twitter a little bit. They didn't spend much time together tonight on the field.
The Packers secondary had a bromance going with Greg tonight.
Which is surprising why Jay didn't find him.
Easy.
And Des Clark, by the way, did Des age like 6 years? I mean, Des looked a little slow.
Well,
He had like that Bill Lambier hops, maybe where I could slide one piece of paper underneath.
You can't be tired because they carried like 6 tight ends.
Look at that. This was the bread and butter of this offense. The tight ends.
And then
we got one for Greg and one for Des.
And Des gets hurt on that 23-yarder.
Yeah, he got hit right there in the back.
In the back and the ribs, maybe.
Feel good.
But why weren't both those tight ends used more?
I thought
Jimmy Saul, new quarterback. I'm sorry, offensive line did what they had to do.
I look at Greg Olsen. He did. He got in and out coverage a lot, double coverage quite a bit. We call it combo, where the safety and the linebacker are coming underneath him, and then you see Ron Turner trying to move him around. You saw him put him in H-back. He was actually in the backfield as a fullback quite a bit, just trying to get, maybe you can free him up. Maybe at that point, maybe just the Sam backer wouldn't have been on him. He was trying like crazy to try and get single coverage on Greg Olsen. That was the guy, and every team's going to diagnose it. You take away Greg Olsen, to me, he still is the Bears' #1 threat.
Anthony James from Lockport waves in. Why can't we bring in a veteran wide receiver like Marvin Harrison who can help out these inexperienced wide receivers? I mean, you do a lot on Sirius Satellite with the NFL. You know what's out there on the street. Is there any viable options? Is Harrison...
I don't think Harrison, because to me he's the same type of guy as the guys you've already got. I know he comes with much more decorated credentials, but he's a smaller, speedier guy. They actually need a bigger physical receiver. I know Rashmadu was hurt tonight. Hopefully they can get him healthy.
Aroma
Shadu, excuse me.
Earl Bennett had 7 catches for 66 yards. His longest was 21. He is standing by with our Kip Lewis. Take it away, Kip.
All right, Pat, we've been talking a lot about the offense and some of the things that happened here. Your assessment of the offense in this game tonight, it seemed like there was a lot of miscommunication. Talked to Johnny Knox. He said maybe guys just weren't on the same page.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We weren't in sync a lot, but when we did get in sync, we moved the ball down and got touchdowns, and we just got to go in and make corrections from the film.
Why do you think there was that miscommunication in this game? Did you guys do anything different, or was it just different formations? Was it the coverages? What was it that made you guys not see things in the same way?
Sometimes you just make mistakes, and it's life. You have to live with it, but you have to put that play behind you and keep playing, and we just got to, like I said, watch the film and get ready for Pittsburgh next week.
In the past, obviously, this team's played a lot of bump and run with their corners. They did some things a little bit differently in this game, but did you expect some of what you saw here tonight?
Yeah, definitely. From watching film and understanding they new defensive coordinator, we pretty much figured out what type of defense they was going to run, and we was prepared for it.
I know for you guys offensively, it's a little bit frustrating because there was so much talk about what you guys wanted to do with Jay and the explosiveness of this offense. Does this hurt you guys from a confidence standpoint at all?
I don't think so. Everybody on the offense is very confident. We know what type of team we have, and we know that we just got to go in and get ready for next week and put this game behind us.
What was the environment out there for you guys tonight? Any problem with crowd noise, anything like that?
No, I don't think we had any problem with the crowd noise. We just got to get back to work.
A lot of guys in this game, a guy like Johnny Knox didn't have a lot of experience, made some mistakes in this game. The slant route sort of cut it short there. How much can a game like this help a young guy like that?
I think it helped everybody a lot. This first game, you learn from it, and you just want to move forward. You don't want to keep making the same mistakes. So I'm pretty sure everybody's excited about this week coming up.
Obviously, Jay is going to take a lot of heat in this game with 4 interceptions, a career high for him. How important is it then for you guys maybe to try and help him as much as you can and pick him up, even though he's the leader of this offense?
Yeah, definitely. Jay's a very confident guy. I know he's excited about this week coming up. He'll put this game behind him, be ready to fire, and we behind him 100%, and I'm pretty sure he know that, and we're going to get ready.
How much does this help you guys going into a game like next week, knowing you're going to see something very similar to what you saw here tonight?
I think it's going to help us out a lot, going against the type of defense that we did tonight, and like I said, go in, watch film, make corrections, and get ready.
Earl, appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Of course, guys, hey, Earl Bennett ended up really being the go-to guy tonight and the receiver group for Jay Cutler. And, of course, they're going to need those receivers to play big next week when they play the Steelers. Pat, hopefully we'll get a few more guys out here for you. But for now, let's go back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Kip, and give us any updates if you hear anything injury-wise with 21-15, a lot of injuries in this one. Frank Omiyale, the left guard, was actually banged up for a while. He's standing by with our Kip Lewis. Take it away, Kip.
Yeah, Pat, you mentioned all the injuries. One of the guys that was injured in this game was Frank Omiyale, but Frank, you did come back in this game. How are you feeling right now?
Feeling good. I don't think it's going to be anything that holds me out next week.
You know, we talked a lot this week about the aggressiveness of this new 3-4 defense that the Packers were running. How difficult was it for you guys tonight?
They made some plays at time, but I feel like we did, a decent job of, protecting against the blitz, and trying to get some positive run plays.
Was it difficult to get the running game going because they were moving guys all over, giving you guys so many different looks up front?
I wouldn't say difficult. We just got to make plays when the number's called.
There's a lot of talk about this offense and the explosiveness coming into this season. First 6 possessions, 3 3-and-outs, 3 turnovers. How frustrating was that for you guys to start the game that way?
It was frustrating because we feel like we put ourselves behind the 8 ball, but we're going to look at it tomorrow on film and get ready for the Steelers.
You guys sort of look at this game as one of those games that got away, considering how poorly things went for you guys, especially in that first half, coming out and having a chance late in the game.
We feel good, about the opportunities we did give ourselves, but we fell short. We expect a big jump from week 1 to week 2.
What do you guys think you have to do next week when you're going to face another 3-4 team, an athletic team, probably some outside backers that are more athletic than what you saw tonight? Where do you guys have to improve going into next week?
All around. Everybody just has to do their job, and that's what we're going to do next week.
How difficult is it for this team to make sure you guys don't lose any confidence because you guys were so sky high coming into this game?
We played. It's not like we got our butts kicked, but we did lose. But we're pros, and that's what you got to do. Come back to next week. That's one game. We got 15, hopefully more than that coming up.
Frank, appreciate your time. Go ahead and get some food over there, man. All right, Pat, Frank Omiyale, he says he is fine. He injured that ankle a little bit, but he did come back in the game. And actually, Pat, I want to mention, too, I did see Brian Urlacher. He did not want to talk, but I asked him about that wrist. He said he's okay. Now, whether that means he'll be able to play next week, we don't know, but he said he should be fine. So, Pat, that's it for right now. Let's go back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Kip, thank you very much. Talk about the injuries in this game. Here's what happened. Brian Urlacher with a dislocated wrist. Pisatino Isamoa on the first series goes down with the strained right knee. Des Clark had the back issue on his catch, and Tremaine McBride with a knee. So if you take a look at it, we're talking about this with the dislocation. You assume that they can cast that up and Brian can play with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah,
tape a Band-Aid to it and we just go. Now, that happened
in
the
Jerry.
2 sticks together.
It happened early in the third. Why wouldn't they have tried to put? Could they put like something fiberglass on there and tape that up, or is it just
probably
not enough
to
time?
look at it, get an X-ray, and try to figure out where to go from there with. I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on TV, but I'd imagine with a valuable asset like that, you probably want to wait and make sure that you're making the right decision. And you know what? The defense wasn't the problem in large part in this game. It was on the offensive side. So.
We appreciate all the emails coming in to csnchicago.com. Here is one discussing the injuries. Yes, the defense played well, but how can you guys be excited when 2 of our starting linebackers could be gone for a while? That's Sean from Wilmington, Delaware, watching us on satellite. Thanks for dialing us up tonight, Sean, and for chiming in at csnchicago.com. I don't think anybody's excited to know that those 2 guys went down. You got Hunter Hillenmeyer that would step in there and Nick Roach, but you know, I think we were pleased to see a secondary that had so many question marks going in.
And a defensive line that was getting after the quarterback.
Right.
I mean, if you weren't excited about that, then I think you were further out than Delaware. That was a good thing to see tonight because it's been a long time since we've seen a Bear defensive line get after the quarterback like that.
All right, let's talk about this going forward. Nate Vasher, if Peanut Tillman is healthy or up to speed, I don't think Vasher is starting tonight. I mean, I think he would be the one that they pull out.
I think that, I'm not so sure about that because I think that what they wanted is Zach Bowman would play that spot. And I don't know if they were, 100% sure on Zach Bowman, but we will find out, I'm sure, this week whether or not they're deciding on Zach and if he looked well enough to come in and start a ball game. We might find that out.
It seems like they were rotating him a little bit also.
Right, I think that's the idea.
I think that they're basically trying to take care of Peanut a little bit. They know that he was probably a little bit sore right now, but they were getting their rotate on, basically. So they should be all right.
Take a look at another email question that's chiming in on the wide receivers. How much of our issue tonight was due to the receivers not running routes correctly? That's Renee from Freeport. We'll tee you up on that one, Jim.
Well, I don't think it's just about the receivers running incorrect routes. Bottom line, if guys aren't open, you can't throw the football. The bottom line, I say it all the time, sometimes the only play is throwing the football away. It's the best play that you can have. Jay Cutler in the second half started to run the football when he was unsure about where he was going the ball. But the bottom line, he still wasn't seeing the field the whole night. Because later in the game, I saw when he threw into quadruple coverage, Devin Hester would have had a touchdown. The game wouldn't even have been close.
You brought up an excellent point, though, about Jay and running the football. In the first half, if you look back on it, I don't think he really tried to come out of that pocket very much. It looked like he wanted to stay back there and try to complete some passes. But if it's breaking down, if you can't find anything, he should use his feet like he did in the second half and make do some damage that way.
By the way, you can see Jim's blog 15 on 6 as he breaks down Jay Cutler's performance all season long on csnchicago.com. When you talk about the confidence that Jay Cutler has brought to the table, and I think that was something that we were surprised.
He's got his own blog, man. Did you see that?
He's big time.
Jeepers creepers. Huh?
Hey, both you guys have your,
Hey, we're doing it.
You're on Twitter.
You're on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter.
You are approaching Ocho Cinco on Twitter. You're like, hanging out with Billy Deck at the Underground.
I'm informing people. People want to know, and I am.
People want to know. Hanging out here. No, let's talk about the confidence that Jay Cutler, brought to this position. But it's not what we saw tonight, Zoom. You hang out with a lot of guys on the team. I'm sure that's something that they've talked about, this quiet confidence, how he went into Denver a couple weeks ago, a hostile situation, could have said the wrong thing at any time. He was asked constantly about how he exited that city, handled it well. Tonight, it didn't look like the same confidence.
Yeah, everything just basically went wrong. He just kind of fell apart today. But he still has that confidence, and as any good quarterback, you have to have that confidence because your whole team is looking at you, especially your offense. They're looking at you like you're the leader and that you're going to take us to the promised land pretty much. So I think the confidence is still there. He just had a bad game,
I think he had a bad game, and I don't think he realized, even though he grew up in Santa Claus, Indiana, the rivalry of what Packers-Bears is. People can say, hey, he's out in the AFC West.
He grew up in Santa Claus. Was this one Christmas?
I'll tell you what, it was Christmas.
It was Christmas. He's delivering some gifts.
But whether his games against San Diego, the Oakland Raiders, and even the Kansas City Chiefs, to me, they don't even compare to the Packers-Bears matchup. He got a good indoctrination tonight, and he'll learn moving forward.
Let's just say it was not a great night for Jay Cutler or Jay Leno. If Jay Leno's new show on NBC is anything like the interview he had with Bob Costas, that thing is going to be yanked very, very quickly. Patrick Manley had a crucial error in this game in the fourth quarter, 4th and 11 at the 26-yard line of the Bears. He thinks he recognizes too many men on the field as far as the Packers go, so he does the direct snap to Garrett Wolfe. He addressed the situation a short time ago at Lambeau Field. Let's listen in.
Unfortunately, I wish I would have. I would never have done that. It was just a dumb play on my part, not seeing that.
What was your reaction as soon as you found out that that guy was off the field?
Of course, I'm going to be disappointed, and I feel stupid is a big thing. Something I thought we were making a play, making a smart play, and unfortunately, it didn't work out that way.
And it was one of those games, you just told me your dad was at the game, a couple of your coaches that have never seen you play as a pro. This is probably not what you wanted them to see.
I don't want to see all you guys around me now. I think I was quoted in the paper this week as saying the less you know about us, the better. And unfortunately, you guys are standing here in front of me.
Hopefully we don't.
Yeah, if you're talking about Patrick Manley, the long snapper, in a post-game show where there's a horde of reporters around your locker, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, something's bad.
And, you know, this is just completely uncharacteristic. I mean, you could almost, first of all, if they got the 5 yards, it wouldn't have even been a first down. But it was just doing it at your own 26 made absolutely no sense.
That's the thing.
When the defense had been stopping them, stuffing them in the second half.
You kind of have to add all that into your thinking when you have a situation like that. But the most important thing is where you are on the field. And you always think about, well, what bad can happen? Well, I think they found out the good news there was is didn't cost them a touchdown. They only cost them a field goal
points,
there.
Yeah. Still.
Jerry knows him well. I know him well. That's what a leader does. He mans up and says, I screwed up, and I'm going to get it right. And that's what a leader does on the Bears. You don't need to mock the media. You don't need to say anything just because you're upset at the questions that are getting posed to you. Patrick Manley manned up and did the right thing, and he's right. Normally, he'll probably be invisible the rest of the year.
You know, other than that, though, what'd you think about special teams?
Well, the way Maynard was punting the football.
He was unbelievable.
He was great tonight.
Unbelievable.
Brad Maynard had 4 punts for an average of 49.5 yards per punt. So that is tremendous.
And the field position war, you know, he was giving you the advantage field position-wise.
And what'd you think of Devin Hester? Punt returns 2 for a total of 15 yards. You saw him try to reverse field a couple times and make something out of nothing, but
I thought
at least we saw some explosiveness out of him.
And Pat, the other thing is he's getting smarter about what he does back there. He's looking back and realizing if he's on that 10-yard line and that ball looks like it's going over his head, to get away from it and let it go into the end zone. If you have to get one down on the 1 or 2 yard line, so be it. But, you know, go with the averages. The average says that ball's going into the end zone. It's coming back out to the 20. I think he's making better decisions that way.
Still to come on the show, we're going to hear from Adewale Agunlia, who had a couple of sacks in this game. As we head to break, you can respond to our look at our 4 seasons who's not, who's hot. How about who's hot, who's not from around week 1 of the National Football League? Who's hot? How about Drew Brees? 358 yards, 6 touchdowns. I think you won your fantasy game if he was your starter. Tony Romo, no more Jessica Simpson, 353 yards, 3 touchdowns. No more T.O. gets it done. AP, still electrifying, 25 carries, 180 yards as the Vikings take care of business. Who's not? How about Matthew Stafford of the Detroit Lions in his debut? He had 3 interceptions. Brandon Jacobs, 16 carries for 46 yards. Carson Palmer, some hard knocks there. 21 of 33, 2 interceptions, and 3 sacks as he was playing hurt. By the way, right now on CSNChicago.com, you can see Lovie Smith's and Jay Cutler's entire press conferences in their entirety right now. That's on CSNChicago.com. Nate Vasher gave up the big scoring play late in this ball game to Greg Jennings as the Packers connected on a 50-yard scoring strike. That was the difference in this one. Nate addressed the media a short time ago. Let's listen in.
It's just one game, though. You know what? We got to move forward.
Definitely.
To look at it?
Definitely. You got to. We'll have a couple. We'll actually have one day to, watch the tape, but we have a really good Pittsburgh team coming in. Next week, we got to be ready.
Weird way. Could there be a silver lining? Fire you guys up even more, possibly? Is that how you gotta find some positive, right?
Yeah, we'll be excited to play at home, and that's what we're looking forward to.
Do you think Jay was trying to do too much at all out there? I mean, his debut, obviously one of a great showing,
I don't know. You have to ask him. See, I'm really not sure. I just know that we basically had the lead. He gave us the lead, and we got to close out.
Well, that reporter's glass is certainly half full as she breaks this one. You let him go by you and you slipped, and it was a game-winning touchdown, but there's always next week. Yeah, there is. There's always next week. But for Vasher, what he's gone through in the last 2 years, he's played just 12 ball games. He's got a lot to prove, I think, right now to keep his gig.
Yeah, you know, the injuries definitely slowed him down a little bit, but, you know, he's a guy that can make plays. We've seen this day in and day out. He just has to basically get into the rhythm. You know, he has to go out there and compete a little bit. I think that Vasher will be all right. He is still a great, great corner.
Well, I don't know. You think he's a great corner?
I think he's a great corner.
I think he's got a long way to go to get back to where he was. I really do. I love Nate Vasher, but
I gotta tell you. I mean, by the way, you guys at home are fantastic, and you keep us going in here. Somebody goes, the first one of you that calls him the interceptor, you should be yanked right off that set. So you guys are hilarious. CSNChicago.com.
Well, he was at one point.
Yeah, he was. That was 3 years ago. Yeah. That was 3 years ago. That's now been picked.
Well, the breakdown of play, it was a hard run set look by the Green Bay Packers.
Play action pass.
Play action pass. Safety bites. I won't screw up his name like Roma should do. It was Al Alfalfa, I believe is how it's pronounced. Alfalfa.
Yeah, the degree of difficulty with this roster went up sevenfold this offseason.
Alfalfa came down in the box. And anyway, it was a hard run look, and obviously he got beat on the play. But I thought overall, Tillman and Vasher played solid. Think about Tillman. He hasn't even lined up. This guy hasn't even played in any preseason games, nothing. Guy went out there, played solid. One play that gave, I thought the one bonus on it is, thank God it was a quick strike, because it gave the Bears a minute and 11 with their big-time quarterback, Jay Cutler, to get the ball. Unfortunately, we know how it unfolded.
I got to be honest with you. When you think of the cornerback situation going in, probably most of us are the same way. You know, we're all thinking, oh, that's going to be a problem area tonight. Because when you look at, you know, what Rodgers has been able to accomplish over the last season, you look at those receivers, you know, the Jennings and the drivers, and you think that this is going to be a bad night for the Bears corners. They actually did play pretty well, you know, but you can't give up a big play, because you can play well all you want, and then you give up a big play and you end up going home a loser, and that's what happened today.
Right.
Adewale Ogunleye had 2 sacks in this ball game as he basically went around Barber like he was a turnstile. He addressed the media a short time ago. Let's listen in.
With the way you guys had so much pressure on them?
I think so, you know, but I guess the play that counted the most, we weren't able to get them down, and that was the last play of the game, and the last play of defense for us before the kneel downs, and you know, we played solid throughout the game. It's just these little missteps that we're having, these hiccups that we're having that are capitalizing, man. These guys are good in the NFL. They get paid to capitalize on our mistakes, and that's what's happening.
How much does that hurt when you guys played such a great defensive game the whole game, and then the last 2 minutes?
No, it hurts. It hurts. You know, when you know that it's a division rival, it's an NFC game, it's our rival. It's the first game of the season. I mean, you can just keep adding up how tough this loss is. The only positive thing about it, it's the first game of the season, and we've got 15 more to go.
Wally, how tough was it to see Brian go out with his wrist injury, and what kind of effect, if at all, it had on him?
It was tough, you know, but as you can see, we responded really well. You know, hats goes off to Hunter. He's really came in and played that position really well. So, you know, good thing about this team right now is we have good depth. We do have some guys banged up, but as you can see, we had guys come in and play fairly well.
On that third one where they got the touchdown, you guys expecting a run play? It's normal call, and that's
Adewale after his 4-tackle, 2-sack performance as the Bears got to Aaron Rodgers and sacked him 4 times in this game. Of course, Daniel Manning with that safety sack on Rodgers that made it 3-2 after 5 innings. Here's the defensive by half, the statistical comparison. And all in all, I mean, you know, other than that Nate Vasher play there, I mean, they played pretty well defensively, I thought, right?
One thing that stands out a little bit right here in the second half was the third down, you know. They basically just shut them down on third down. And if you do that, you stall drives and you give your team an advantage to win.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like Wani, but, you know, yeah, save for a couple of plays here or there, everything was good tonight.
You could also flip around and say if Aaron Rodgers does an airmail driver early on in this ball game, he had a lot of drops out there. This game could have been
Could have gotten out of hand
Could
early.
have got out of hand early.
Right, that's right. But sometimes, you know, that's the way it goes. Same thing with the Bears. They had a couple of different plays where they could have been big plays. On the one that you were talking about, the pick, you know, if all Jay Cutler has to do is look up, and he sees Devin Hester running downfield all by his lonesome. And it would have been a touchdown. Instead, it was an interception. Come back the other way.
Think about how much offense the Bears left on the field tonight. That would have been a dominant defensive performance if the Bears could have, you know, at least strung together a couple more drives, given their defense a rest. And here the Bears are out there the whole time. And that was an unbelievable performance by the defense. Offense couldn't get it done.
You know, and I know Lovey came back. He said, "You want to look. You know, the one thing is we didn't get any turnovers defensively." Well, I kind of look at it a little different. You did. You made them turn the football over by making them punt it, and that's something that, you know, again, last year seemed to be kind of scarce at certain times.
Safety also.
Right.
We're going to hear from Ron Turner, the Bears offensive coordinator, on the other side. Still much more to come from Lambeau Field, and later.
Got to get touchdowns when we get down there.
Naturally, Jay wanted to have a great debut. Do you think he was trying to do too much, or did it, you know?
I don't know. I don't know if he was. You know, was or not. It may be early, and I think I probably was too, trying to do too much. And we talked about that at halftime, and we settled in, and you know, got a little bit better handle on what they were doing, and we talked about that going into the game. It's a new defense, new coordinator. It's going to take a little while. We really didn't have film on them other than preseason, which doesn't mean a whole lot. And it's going to take a little while to get a feel for what they were doing and get in sync. And, you know, and we did.
Ron, you'll have a better idea after looking at the tapes, but any initial thoughts on the line play up front, both running and passing?
Yeah, I thought they did some good things. Opened some stuff up, and, you know, we'll see. We'll look at the film and see. But I just know, you know, we all got to come out and try to get a little bit better. I got to get better. Everybody else in this locker room has to get better. Do the, you know, things that we did well, build on those, and eliminate the mistakes. We made too many mistakes tonight.
You always talk about things that.
Matt's play.
Matt Forte. Yeah, I thought Matt played solid. You know, without looking at the film and all that. You know, Matt's a very good football player. Did some good things, and you know.
Hurt it all when he came out for a while. I mean, that was just.
We just, it's a long season, and we talked about, you know, getting some other guys involved and spelling him a little bit, and that was the plan going into it, and you know, so we did.
The decision making on the interceptions, I mean, especially the one over the middle of the field that got returned a long ways. And
yeah, I think one of them was miscommunication. He ran an inside route. Jay scrambled. He saw him start to scramble, so he turned and went with him on the scramble instead of staying. He thought he was going to stay on his inside portion of the route. No, those things happen. You know, those are things that are correctable. And like I said, he saw him get out of the pocket, so he thought he was going. So we talk all the time about our scramble rules and getting in vision and going with the quarterback. So he saw him scramble, so he kind of moved, and Jay didn't anticipate him doing that. So that's you know, more of a miscommunication thing than anything.
So that one was the miscommunication?
Yeah, and I'm not saying it was the receiver's fault. It was just a reaction. Right. It was a reaction, and those are things that you know, we got a lot of new faces out there, and it's going to take some time to get everybody in sync and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't just come together overnight. It takes time, and we'll build on the good things that we did, and we did do some good things tonight. We'll build on those and you know, eliminate or minimize the negatives.
Ron, you had a couple of injuries on your side of the ball. How serious do you think they are, and do you think they could be ready already?
I have no idea. I haven't talked to our trainer yet. I just walked out of the locker room and got with you guys, and I haven't even been in there yet. I'll go in there and see.
You always talk about the importance of having a balanced attack. Not much from the running game. How much does that hurt tonight?
Well, you know, we've got to get that going, and at times we did. You know, at times we did, and we just got to keep with it. And there were times I could have been more patient, and especially early, and given us you know, more of a chance on it. We did settle in and started running the ball a little bit better, and that opened things up, and that helped us.
Bears go down 21-15. Here's our U.S. Cellular poll question tonight. What's the biggest reason for the Bears' loss to the Pack? Cutler's bad first half, the inconsistency of the running game, that botched fake punt, or just too many injuries tonight? Go to csnchicago.com. Still to come on the show, we're going to hear from Peanut Tillman as he returned after no preseason activity. We'll also hear from Tommy Harris. We've got our Monsters of the Midway and Jerry's GQ all coming up. Stay with us. Football programming on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you in part by Lexus and the new HS Hybrid. Someday, we'll all drive like this. Why did the Bears lose tonight 21-15, but they were pretty banged up in the process. Brian Urlacher with a dislocated wrist. Pisa Tinoisa with a right knee sprain. Trainers told him tonight it's the same injury that Greg Olsen had last year, and that it took Greg 3 to 4 weeks before he could return. So that's the latest on Pisa. Des Clark, a sprained back on his catch across the middle, and Tremaine McBride goes down with a knee sprain as well. Big question mark coming into this game was Peanut Tillman going to be able to go? Coming back from the back surgery, not playing in any preseason games. He did go in this one, 2 tackles in this contest. He addressed the media a short time ago.
No, I didn't feel. Well, I'm sore now, obviously. No, I didn't feel any limitations. I felt good running to the ball, hitting, tackling. I mean, I definitely, myself personally, think I can do better to help contribute. So.
A lot of guys, when they come back from injury, they say they need that first hit to feel that first hit again. Is there trepidation going up to that?
You know what? Yeah, I did. I did need the first hit. After that first hit, I was good.
When you threw a drive out of bounds, was that what you consider the first hit that you had?
No, first hit is really like the first play.
First snap. Okay.
First snap. Yeah, I don't need that long. You must be from Wisconsin, huh?
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now time now for the guys to give us their Monsters of the Midway presented by IPA, otherwise known as the Bears MVP. And for that, we begin with Jerry Azuma. Azuma?
Well, I'm going to go with Wale. I mean, this guy basically pressured the quarterback all night long. He had 5 quarterback hurries. You know, he had 3 tackles, all of them for a loss, 2 sacks. Wale's the guy.
All right, what do you have for us, Jim?
I'll stick with Adewale Ogunleye because gave you versions of even Reggie White's old club there for a little bit on Barbary, the right tackle of Green Bay. So I thought overall just great performance and good to see all of the defensive line. This front 4 is going to be able to put some pressure on the opponent.
And I'm staying with Wale as well. You know, I like the way that the defensive line rolled out. You know, we talk about them attacking the offense, and that's exactly what they were doing, all of them up front, and that's a beautiful thing to see, and that will stop a lot of offenses around the National Football League, and finally maybe we will get to see some of that pressure. I think we now know why Rod Marinelli was brought here.
Just to change things up a little bit, I'm going to go with Daniel Manning tonight. He had 6 tackles to lead the Bears in that department. And I was following Jerry Azuma on Twitter, and he said that the defense needed to step up with a big play. And lo and behold, the 3-0 game turned into a 3-2 game thanks to Daniel Manning's sack and safety in the end zone of Aaron Rodgers. So he is my monster of the Midway. By the way, how can we get a hold of you on Twitter? What's your handle?
At Jerry Azuma.
There it is. Very inventive.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Like that?
Hey, by the way, did Ocho Cinco find a way around the no Twitter rule? He said
you know what? He did Twitter after the game. He said he could not believe the ending of the game, but not during the game.
So. Maybe they should have, the way things turned out for the Bengals.
All right, there's still plenty more to come here on US Cellular Bears Post-Game Live. As we head to break, we remind you that coming up each and every week, it is Lovie Smith as we break down the game. Join Luke Canellis and Dan Jiggets Mondays at 5 for Bears Recap. You hear Lovie's day after press conference. Jiggs will break down all the key plays. It's Bears Recap Mondays at 5 right here on Comcast Sportsnet. On every facet of the blue and orange, and we'll get you ready for that game against the Steelers. It's Countdown to Kickoff every Thursday at 11 on Comcast Sportsnet. Lance Briggs addressed the media a short time ago at Lambeau Field. Let's listen in.
Yeah. You know, when it comes down to it, defensively, we don't have anybody to blame but ourselves. You know, when you're up in a game in the 4th quarter, you're in a position to win, you have to keep them out of the end zone, and we didn't do that.
Did you sense about maybe Jay was trying to do too much out there? Did you know, obviously wants to...
You know what I was more concerned with? I was more concerned with the fact that we were up. We were up, by 2 points at the end of the 4th quarter. And we had an opportunity to win the game. You know, so it didn't really matter what happened all throughout that game. Our offense gave us a chance to win, and we didn't finish.
Lance, Lovie, and Jay both iterated that it's only one game. You know, put it behind you, move on. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, it's one game. It's one game. It was a long season, but these close games like this and those, we got to win those critical situations.
You got really good depth at linebacker, but how tough was it to see your latter piece of both go down?
It's always tough to see your leader go down. We get all our he knows the defense better than anybody. And he communicates everything to everyone else. You know, but like I said, man, we have depth, and depth came out and they produced, and they're going to have to produce. You know what I mean? You got to understand that, you know, football is not for long. It can happen any day, you know, and, you know, the day may happen, and it happened today. So guys got to come up, and guys got to play big.
It is a crazy football game. Probably the one area that you would say going into this game that the Bears were strongest in and had the most depth, linebacker. They lose their 2 starting linebackers tonight as Brian Urlacher goes down with a dislocated wrist. Tino Isamoa goes down with his knee injury, and he could be out some 3 to 4 weeks, depending on the recovery time on that one. As you take a look at some of the emails that are coming in right now, dislocated wrist sounds like it won't heal quick. Does this D have a chance without Urlacher? That's Brent from Lombard. Do they have a chance?
I think they do. I mean, guys stepped up. You know, if you look at this game, you know, Brian wasn't in there for the whole, second half or something like that. And guys basically stepped up. Now, they started to run more. You know,
right at Hunter.
They were running right at Hunter, but, you know, Hunter stepped up. And that's a big part of it.
There's some things you can do with your defensive front, too, to help them out a little bit. Maybe make sure that those guards don't get that nice clean shot on him and allow him to roam a little bit, because the one thing he does have is some foot speed to move along.
Thought Sean summed it up pretty well. Lost the turnover battle for Zip. Awful fake punt call there. That was Patrick Manley's call. Thought there was too many men on the field and tried a little trickeration. Yet only lost by 1 score on the road. Bears will be fine. Nothing to worry about. That, again, is Sean from Chicago.
Sean's making a lot of sense. I mean,
I agree. No time to panic. This is a good football team. Jay's an experienced quarterback. He'll settle in as the quarterback of the Bears. He'll make a lot more good plays than the bad plays that he made tonight.
And we tend to react in this town a certain way with first impressions. Milton Bradley comes to mind. There's a lot of players that have come to this town and they rub people the wrong way out of the gates. You know, tomorrow people are going to be blowing up the sports radio phone lines saying, you know, bad Jay, this is Rex, and, you know,
hey,
with
Jay,
number
you're going to get it.
6.
Yeah, you know, sure.
Do you expect, Jim, that he will be able to handle this? Because you don't want to run this guy out of town. This guy is the future. Bad game, but he can still make the plays. This was just one 60-minute effort.
Well, it still amazes me that Jay lives so close to the city of Chicago, and you saw his press conference after the game. To me, it's not something that's going to endear himself to the fans, because when you listen to leaders like Lance Briggs, when you listen to Patrick Manley, those are guys that own up. Those are leaders that stepped up and said, hey, we as a defense, if we don't give up that score, we win. Only Lance Briggs or Brian Urlacher would say something like that. Patrick Manley owned up to his mistake. And Jay needs to understand the temperament of this town and obviously embrace it and not fight it.
Time now for Jerry's GQ segment, where the Dapper One picks up the best-dressed Bears player. And, Jerry, first up, we've got an honorable mention goes to the youngster.
First of all, you know what? There wasn't a lot out there, you know, so we had to work with something. So we're going with Knox right here. Knox is looking sharp, you know, well put together.
Yeah, business attire.
Business attire, you know, looking all right.
But the winner of this week's Jerry GQ goes to, drumroll please.
It is going to Wolf. I mean, this guy right here on the tie alone.
Go big.
He should win
Is
this.
Big Boy not still in?
Big Boy, well, you know what?
You're taking it.
Yeah, I'm taking it down a notch.
Taking it down. Maybe
it is what it is.
I questioned the backpack he was wearing in that. But,
and the shades. And the shades.
Was that a little Kitty and Miss Kitty backpack?
He looked like Will.i.am from the Black Eyed Peas. Maybe he's going to head over and sing for Oprah. We're coming back with our results to our poll question on the other side. You're watching USA Packers. Here's what you had to say after logging on to csnchicago.com. You said it was Jay Cutler's bad first half where he threw the 3 interceptions. At least 45% of you did. 27% said the inconsistent running game that picked up in the second half. 26% said it was Patrick Manley's ill-advised fake punt in the fourth quarter. As we get set now for the home opener next Sunday, we've got the defending Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers coming to town. They're coming off the overtime win on Thursday night. Another 3-4 defense for this offense to attack, Jim.
Yeah, I agree. Well, first off, another 3-4 defense, and they're the world champs, so it elevates everything a little bit. They've got the bullseye on their back. I think, obviously, you need to start out with the run game, get the play action going, get Jay Cutler settled in because it is the same attack, and he looked a little confused in some of the coverages that were tonight. Hopefully he'll be better.
Brew up some Kool-Aid for us this week. We gotta feel.
Well, you got the,
we'll be all right.
Number one, the Steelers are defending world champions, and that's all great. But if the Bears decide to come out and run the football a little bit, let's find out what happens against the Steelers defense then. Because if they'd done it tonight, I have a feeling that the outcome might have been different.
We will see you next Sunday after that game. That's going to do it for this edition of U.S. Cellular Bears Postgame Live. Packers win it 21-15. For Jerry Zuma, Jim Miller, Dan Jiggets, Kip Lewis at Lambeau Field, I'm Pat Boyle. Thanks for dialing us up and staying with us tonight. We'll see you next Sunday as soon as they're done against the Steelers. Sports Night with Josh Moore is next. Have a great weekend.